I'm here, there. I'm doing something different today. I'm drinking an energy drink.
Oh,
I
What
haven't.
kind?
It's a white monster. A
I'm
big,
trying to
like a
think, because it was,
tall,
yeah.
zero sugar Monster Energy.
I think I definitely had the opportunity to get into Monster in uni, where it was kind of like what was going to win the caffeine gauntlet
Yeah.
between tea, between coffee, between espresso, which is kind of like, you know, potato.
actually,
But then,
you
and
talking
yeah,
about all, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm at a.
Sorry, I was just gonna say the fact that you guys are talking about these caffeinated beverages like drugs is not lost on me.
No, I know. I mean, I hate energy drinks. They make me feel like shit. But I'm always in these episodes afraid that I am too low energy, so I'm trying something different. Performance enhancing drugs. Honestly, it tastes pretty good. But I work with
as is the
people
norm.
like young people, salespeople who they just down like 4 of these in a day, like it's soda, and I'm like,
It's terrifying.
that can't
Yep.
be good. Like the first thing they do in the
No,
morning
no, it
is
is not.
crack open like a half liter of energy drink, and then one for lunch and a couple in the afternoon. It's like, Jesus
And it's like, oh,
Christ, guys.
congratulations, you've hit
They are
your
going.
daily caffeine intake before noon, and now you're just fucking topping it.
Yeah. I mean, I've told
You're
them
going
this.
to develop a heart condition. Oh
Right.
God.
It's like one of these cans, that's like 4 cups of coffee. That's how much coffee I have in a day. And that's just what's in one of these. I don't understand. There's like young people in energy drinks. It's like a pandemic, at least here. Not a pandemic then.
Yeah.
Epidemic? A localized pandemic, whatever it's called. I'm sure there's a word.
Epidemic, yeah. Yeah, because at that point, it's like, yeah, but I want my caffeine to taste good. It's like, you can make your caffeine taste
No,
good
just
in a
drink
variety
your
of ways.
coffee black and bitter like the rest of us. Grow up. Not everything has
It's-
to be candy.
Don't drink coffee.
I love coffee.
Coffee is shit.
Same. Oh, come on,
It is-
man.
It is dirt bean juice, and
Yes,
if you
but
need
it's
to like
warm and
add
it
sugar
smells
and tea
nice.
to make it palatable, you have fucked up.
I don't put anything in mine.
Same.
I
I've
just like
finally
the taste
jumped
of
on the
black
black train.
coffee. It's like warm and cozy. It's like nice.
Need help.
But it doesn't work fast enough anymore. I've built up a tolerance. So now I'm doing drugs. Long story
You
short.
need help. You need fucking help.
No.
Yeah.
I need to be
Even better,
young.
yeah. in the
Denmark
sense
not
that-
have a
yeah.
dare equivalent.
A dare
Nah,
equivalent?
not a...
Yeah, but not for coffee, I don't think.
There should be.
Because it got me down to the point where it was just where I wasn't necessarily. It was very slowly trickling down. It's like, okay, standard double. Okay, we'll just bring it down to milk. Okay, now we'll take rid of the sugar. Okay, we'll add our sweetener, but now we'll get rid of the sweetener. Just stick to milk. And then over the course of the summer, when it was just literally black coffee over ice, because going to the east coast of North America in the summer is fucking humid as balls,
God.
and you cannot
yeah.
just
well,
hold a
welcome to-
tall cup of a tall cup of coffee, and it's like,
Well, okay.
this isn't going to be drinkable for the next
Yeah.
hour. So at that point, it's like, oh, I can just like plop some ice cubes in there and it'd just be ready to go right off the bat.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I live in the northeastern U.S., so I do get you. When it gets warm, it do be like breathing in fucking soup.
Yeah, fuck that.
You just walk outside and it's just a wall of moisture
Like
every
it-
time, and
like
it's
it
like,
nice and
oh,
cold.
You
this is
walk outside,
so nice.
you open your mouth, you start drinking like the worst fucking
You drink the
Like-
smog. Just
smog is being a bit ungenerous, but it's like God. It's like if you fucking walk outside, and then you feel like an unpleasantly muggy like light blanket over
Oh
you.
yeah, I mean, I've been to
So this is how the
Southeast
day's gonna
Asia.
go. All right, fuck you too, old
That
man
was the
summer.
same. Yeah. that was
Yep, that is why I'm
terrible.
just never going back. I've had the opportunity to live on the East Coast and experience the humid summers and go through and have it at a piece by piece, but I'm just going to stay on the West Coast where it is nice
But-
and dry.
A life without coffee is a life without PSLs, pumpkin spice lattes, and no one should.
And
give
like
up.
that, you've lost me.
That shit's delicious.
Spice coffee is one out of many cultural criminal exports that the whites have done to everyone else. Pumpkin spice lattes are definitely the
It just
worst.
tastes like pumpkin pie, and that shit rules. Fucking love pumpkin pie.
Pumpkin pie tastes like dirt.
What is wrong with you? Now I'm questioning your taste buds. None of this
Okay,
makes any
okay, no,
sense.
okay. Like jokes aside, part of that is probably because I've only ever had like pumpkin pie bought at like the
It's like
supermarket.
sweet.
I'm
and
sure if I made it
cinnamony.
myself, it would be actually good.
Yeah, it's delicious. I love it. Anyway, you know what else I love is seasonal anime, and we're here to talk about them. I'm your host, Panic, and with me I've brought two friends, Aspiring Shoulder and Jakers. Say hi to the people.
Hey, what's up?
Hello,
Oh, you're supposed to say hi to the people. The
hello.
phrase.
Hi, fellow people.
Hello, people. Anyway, it's a season. It's fall. And besides pumpkin spice lattes, we've got seasonals. And I don't know, like my initial impression of this season is that it's pretty light. I'm not watching a lot, and I don't feel like anyone else is.
I think it was
It's always
definitely
been-
one where, yeah, it's overshadowed by some of the major adaptations that we're going to be getting, and it's like, okay, these two are back to back. I'm going to
Yeah.
be so excited. It's going to be a really stacked season for all of it building on top of these, and then it was like, okay, very sequel heavy towards the rest, kind of depending on where you fall, and
Yeah.
kind of depends on your
Yeah.
Yeah.
backlog this season is going to depend on the sequels that you're excited for.
Actually, that's a good point. There's a lot of sequels going on, and if you haven't watched the first mini, then you're not gonna start now. Like we have two big heavy hitters this season, Dan Da Dan and ReZero, and then the rest is just like kind of there. I guess Bleach
I
fans
mean,
are
that-
pretty happy too.
Bleach fans are in fact eating. I don't go there. I'm glad they are finally getting to eat after what was when the fuck did the original Bleach animes run end? Because I know it was at least
12?
5 years.
Oh yeah, it was
Let's
early. This was like when
see.
I was getting into anime, so like about 2012.
It was fucking
Is this the first time it's
last
back since
episode
then?
fucking aired in 2014.
Oh Jesus Christ!
1,000 Year Blood War started in 2022. That's 8 years. 8 years of starvation.
See, I thought it had been resumed for a bit, but I guess this is now. It's back now, right?
Yeah, it's back
Yeah.
now. Again, the 1,000 Year Blood War arc started in 2022, which is the current and it's the last arc in the manga, and it's what the anime is adapting right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it has been
I'm
back
not
for a
sure.
bit, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it has been back for a bit.
Okay. Cool. But other than that, it's like putting together a list of shows to watch is like we have less than ever, I think, to talk about. So let's just get right into it. Maybe it won't be a 3-hour episode, he said, knowing that it is now jinxed.
Yep, cue the Always
Hey,
Sunny
so-
music.
Bam! There we go.
Okay, but let's not turn ourselves into a self-fulfilling prophecy. Let's go.
Let's just get a move on here. Dan Da Dan, the heavy hitter of the season, like the one to watch. It's fucking great.
Yeah.
It's like the most the most creative
yeah.
shit ever. I think Moz put it at it has the most anime per anime. It's the most anime shit ever.
Anime per anime, much like pressure per square mile or something.
Yeah.
Sadly, I do just say that like the sexual assault stuff with the aliens in episode 1 is gross, but that is like the lowest point of the series, and it only goes from there.
it was a
Yeah, it
little
was
bit-
definitely-
It never gets. It's the worst thing in the entire manga, and you know that is a pretty big blight. But if that's the worst thing, then there are anime that are done worse.
Yeah, exactly. At least at that point, it was definitely an awkward like section going through the viewing where I was kind of like, okay, we're still going to combine cosmic horror, but then sexual horror on top of that, which is always going to make for a weird sandwich in between the supernatural horror and the elements like leading into that. However,
Mhm.
everything that has been going through and leading into this production, considering like how early it ended up started being in publication, like back in mid of 2021, was just like it. Reading that day one was just the same deal, where it was like, what the fuck did I just read?
Yeah, I bet
in
it's a
towards the
crazy
rest of it.
first chapter.
Day 1 of Dawn to Dawn. What the fuck did I just read? Day 1372 of Dawn to Dawn. What the fuck did I just read?
Yeah, that is definitely.
Yeah, everybody's asking us. It's like, yeah, you've read all like 160 chapters in. It's like, what's going on? It's like we still have no idea.
Yeah.
I think we're wrapping up the Dick and Balls arc soon. Are we?
In the manga or in the show?
In the manga, obviously. Like, yeah. But yeah,
my man hasn't had his Johnson for a while.
I'm gonna be so happy
he
when
would like his he would like his peen back.
Is this like a commentary on circumcision in the West?
No,
He's trying to get his.
No, okay. If anything, if you want to make that stretch, it's more castration, which is chopping the entire dick and balls off.
Yeah, but that's not like a common thing you do.
Yeah, but like what Turbo Granny does to poor Okarun here isn't circumcision.
No, I know, but that's why it's like a metaphor, I guess. He's like, I want it back.
If I can't have your Johnson, nobody can. You gotta come fight me for it.
Gotta earn your...
Well, we should probably actually give us fucking synopsis.
Of all the tangents that we could have jumped into,
is it about
like,
earning your Johnson?
I mean, so I'm gonna try. You guys can interrupt me and interject. So basically, it's about a girl named... It's a boy meets girl thing, where the girl is Momo Ayase, a spunky gal who has a really specific thing for late Japanese actor Ken Takakura. And then you have the boy, also named Ken Takakura, no relation, who is a shy, bespectacled nerd who
he's into
into aliens.
UFOs, aliens.
Momo is the granddaughter of an actual medium, and so she believes in spirits. And to blatantly rip off Super Eye Patch Wolf, unfortunately, they are both correct.
Yeah, right. Like,
it's
none of them have
a fight. Aliens versus monsters. It's like, we don't really care because neither of them exist. And
what
a
coincidence!
I don't know about that.
They both are like, I've never seen a ghost, I've never seen a UFO, and then the first day they go out, they both find one.
Yeah.
How crazy is that?
Yeah. So yeah, the big inciting incident right now is basically the Momo, being, a stand-up girl, walks past a classroom after being dumped by her shitty boyfriend, and notices a bunch of dicks about to throw a fucking heavy magnet at Ken here, and intimidates them into not doing it. Unfortunately, poor Ken's social skills are zilch, so he assumes that Momo's trying to be friends with him, and he's, starved for social interaction and would like friends, so he
couldn't be me.
Goes to talk to Momo, and he assumes that Momo also likes the occult because there's no other reason for her to talk to him. I watched this in the English dub. Apparently, in the English subtitles from Crunchyroll, they subtitle it as like Ken thinks Momo's in love with her, but from both the manga and the dub, that's not the intent. The intent is, oh, hey, you like the occult too.
Yeah.
Yeah. They get into an argument.
You're also in love with conspiracies, just as I.
Yeah. They get into an argument because both of them are like, your thing's not real and mine is, and they eventually dare each other to go to abandoned buildings. Well, okay, Momo dares Ken to go to an abandoned building where
a tunnel, a haunted tunnel.
Ken dares Momo to go to an abandoned building where UFOs have been sighted, and Momo dares Ken to go to a tunnel where a ghost is. Unfortunately they are the unfortunately they are both correct bit comes in when poor Momo encounters a bunch of aliens who are interested in stealing the genitals of humans, and because they're an all-male species, they need
banana.
Yeah, they need uterus and the penis. If we're gonna say it, I'm not gonna use euphemisms.
That's what they do.
Give us your banana.
Banana.
Give us your banana. Yeah. That leads to the unfortunately uncomfortable sexual assault thing, but it's okay. Momo turns out all right. Meanwhile, poor Ken encounters the ghost known as Turbo Granny, who unfortunately, much like the aliens, is also obsessed with human genitals and wants people's dicks.
She wants to gobble their weenies.
Yeah, she wants to slurp some dong, quite literally.
Hell yeah.
And so, Momo unfortunately gets captured, and they go through that weird, uncomfortable like sexual assault scene. It is supposed to be like a reference to like old pulp alien fiction about alien abducting people, but it's still gross. But then poor Ken comes crashing through the fucking wall where they're doing that, and it turns out Turbo Granny cursed him, and he can now use ghost powers. And by ghost powers, it mostly just means he runs really fast, gets a new hair color, and has a slight personality change.
He crashes through her
at the
phone,
price,
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the price of his dick and balls, because Turbo Granny took them.
Yeah.
Momo, after being given an opening by Ken, suddenly finds out, oh wait, I have psychic powers, cool, and fights off the aliens. And both of them just kind of walk away from the ordeal going like, fuck, what the hell just happened? And unfortunately, again, because Momo will literally lose brain function to squee whenever she hears Ken Takakura's name, she forces Ken to go by a nickname, Okarun, which is a portmanteau of Occult-kun, which was her nickname for him before she found out his actual name.
Yeah.
And
Poor man
now,
can't even get his name out.
yeah. And now, they are now on this quest to try and cure Okarun's curse and retrieve his dick and balls.
Hijinks ensue.
Hijinks ensue, yes.
Hot grandma ensues.
Hot grandma voiced by Kari Walgren ensues.
Oh yeah, no, she's absolutely phenomenal towards the rest. Because that's the thing, both the dub and the sub for the show has been able to like compose it to like both a degree where it like fits in both languages, but with a lot of the banter, with a lot of the back and forth, and a lot of the like emotional scenes that you at least get through it, it's just incredibly. It seems natural, especially when Momo and Okarun are essentially like going through and sharing at least a little bit of space where it's kind of like we still share some of the same interests, but we have to stick together regardless. But it's just you kind of see the chemistry in between the two of them, like always grating at each other, always like at each other's throats, consistently going back and forth. Where it's kind of like the relationships and the more that we get to see as the rest of the cast starts to roll in towards the rest of the season. A lot of the banter and a lot of the chemistry between this cast is like easily one of my favorite ensembles like running nowadays, because they're all just so goofy in their own way, and it's such an incredibly like charming section to like see them go through and mix in a lot of great action in between the rest of it.
Yeah, I wish I could remember. There was like a conversation where fuck brain. Okarun and Momo were like having a bit of a heart-to-heart, but because like Momo had kind of shat on Okarun's special interest beforehand, at the end of that touching moment, they let it breathe before Okarun just goes like, wow, that was lame, and then they start fighting again, and she's like, why did you call that lame? And he goes, you called my interest lame, god damn it.
You believe in ghosts? That's stupid. It's like, after I went through all that trouble just to try to connect with you, just to try to even apologize, it's like, nah, are you kidding me? Ghosts don't exist.
You dumb fuck.
You dumb bitch. But yeah,
exactly.
Panic, do you wanna chime in on anything specific, or?
No, it's great. The OP is a fucking banger.
I will say, yeah.
Listen to it an ungodly amount of times.
Yeah, I just want to say that the show that this show's aesthetic reminds me most of isn't like any other anime I've seen, although that is partially due to the fact that my reference pool is smaller than either of yours. But it's actually Kamen Rider X-Aid, in the sense that both shows' aesthetics seem to have been conceived as the result of a coke trip with a case of markers And as an example, I posted in the chat, this is what Kamen Rider X8 main character can look like.
Hmm.
Bwomp.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, the color palette
Oh,
was...
yeah.
It immediately reminded me of this. Yeah. Again, complimentary. Like, even in episode 1, before all the supernatural shit was happening, there's this really fun angle where, like, it's down at Momo's feet as she's, like, stomping through the halls, and her legs just, like, elongate and step and elongate and step. It's almost like a ground shot version of, like, the wide beam.
Can I import this?
So that was really fun. Yeah. Action animation has been good, but that's well, actually no, that I can't say that's to be expected because I'm trying to think of everything else Science Sorrow has done so far, and I think this is their first like full-on Jump adaptation.
Yeah, because not Fujimoto. That's the author towards the rest of it. But essentially, like it really does match Masaki Uesa's style because most of the things that they've done and adapted have either been mostly straight up novels or like a handful like novels in between, between either stuff like Ping Pong, between Tatami Galaxy, between Devilman Crybaby. So I mean, they did have an old manga adaptation, but that was like back from the 60s or the 70s towards the rest. But for a modern Jump adaptation, this is their first foray into doing something like that. But even though it's not Masaki Uesa directing it, considering that he's been out of the game for a bit, which honestly he deserves it. He really needs the rest, and he's already founded Science Saru. But the guy who's directing this, who is essentially his protege and who he's been shadowing Uesa for like the last 6 years on mostly doing either production assistant work, episode directing, storyboarding, Fugu Yamashiro. And so like he's definitely had the opportunity to not really copy Yuasa's style, but more of like bring it into his own and hone it to that degree. So something this off the wall and just bonkers in its own right is something that Science Saru is very used to, especially whenever it comes to that kind of motion and that kind of just set and character design. So it was, and it's also glad to see that the adaptation is adding scenes and like adding a few bits and pieces and, like you said before, like moments to breathe just to give us a little more time with these characters and get to know them. But I'm definitely excited to see like where he leads that, because off of the first few episodes that he's been going through, he's been doing a phenomenal job with the adaptation.
Yeah, they have. I mean, I haven't read the source, and I might, but I'm like afraid of the deep diving into that like a black hole, just binge a manga again.
I mean, like, yeah, I told you this before we started. I blacked out, and it was 3 a.m.
Yeah, so I'm
Yeah,
afraid of
you
that
and like
happening.
thousands of Japanese like students, and it's like, okay, so these 3 episodes just dropped, and it's like, oh, we're all caught up to the manga. It's like you are caught up. What now?
How many chapters are there?
170.
That's
Yeah.
not too. I mean, that is a lot, but could be a lot worse.
Could be a lot worse. Yeah. What one incredibly petty gripe that I do need to mention about the manga. At one point, Momo performs what she calls a power bomb. This is incorrect, Momo. That is the Tiger Driver 91, innovated by Mitsuharu Misawa, a legend of All Japan Pro Wrestling in their King's Road era, revered as one of the 4 Heavenly Kings. Please know your pro res history better. I am disappointed in you.
Well,
if you are going to drop a man on his neck in that brutal a fashion, pay respect to the actual innovator of the move.
With some respect on
That
his
rant
name.
will be understood by maybe like 3 people if I'm lucky.
Well, now it's unwatchable. Thank you. I think I'd rather watch the rest of the series blind and then binge it, like not knowing when we'll get a season 2. We'll almost definitely get a season 2. I mean, there's too much love poured into this to just be a one-off.
Yeah, it's been doing well. Creepy Nuts has once again gone viral
Creepy
towards
Nuts,
the rest of it, which is
yup.
just insane. Which, to be fair, it was. I wasn't necessarily like too big of a fan of Bring Bam Bam Brun, but this one in particular, I'm kind of like, all right, now I'm on the hype train.
It sounds like an alien hypnosis chant, like dun 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 dun.
Yeah, the first 30 seconds are so captivating, like primal rhythm It's incredible, and the last minute is okay, I guess. It's also good,
By
but
the
it's
way,
way different.
DJ Black Tourmaline, I don't know who that is, if they're on the server or not, asked that, like, wasn't Azoken also a manga adaptation
Yeah, I think so.
for
Oh yeah,
Side?
it was. Yep.
Also,
Yeah.
like crazy creative. Such a
Yeah.
good show with another banger OP. It's like OP of the year, whatever that was.
Yeah, easy breezy.
Easy breezy. That was a fucking
Yeah.
smash hit.
Yeah. If I would like, I haven't checked in on the meme scene, but I would like to hope that that one screen cap of one of the characters just like seeming to reject whatever the fuck they were doing, like the pose where she like puts her hands up to her side. I'm personally hoping that has already replaced the Drake meme.
I mean, they did make a Drake meme out of it. I don't remember what the first one was. That was kind of Mori, like the greatest character design of all time.
Hello, I like money.
I still need to move my ass and watch that. But yeah, Dandadan is good. The again, complimentary Coke Trip art style fits the overall zaniness of what the fuck am I reading?
Like the voice acting is so good. The character animation is good. The
storyboarding, shot composition, like they're just having fun.
And the chemistry with the characters, it's just, I feel like everybody loves what they're doing here. I can't see it fall off in any way. I hope not, because it's fucking incredible.
Yeah, I've been having fun all the way through. Although, to be fair, in terms of probably not necessarily a Coke-fueled segment, but probably something that will give a little bit of context, is that Tatsu, who is the guy that was the author of Dandadan, he was one of Tatsuki Fujimoto's assistants when he was writing Fire Punch and Chainsaw Man. So if there's anything for that relation, it'll definitely go through, because all of Fujimoto's assistants between that have just been crazy, considering
I could see that lending to the very creative fights, like the way they fight the big sumo thing. It's like they can't beat it in a one-on-one, so they use the charm and stuff like that. It's like mind bendy in a way. It's pretty great. I'm very excited to see where it goes and to see the hot grandma. More of her, please. She's pretty great. Am I gaslighting myself, or did she look like an old grandma in the first episode with the hand on head antenna thing, and then now she's hot, or did we not see her face back then?
We just didn't see her face.
We saw her face. Okay. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
I just had a feeling that we saw her like be old, and then she has gotten young somehow. And it would be very funny if that was the case and they just didn't explain it. But yeah, maybe we just didn't see her.
She looks like she's got the body of a mid-30s woman, but the laugh of somebody who's 95. It's a good contrast.
The laugh of a 95-year-old, and also the fashion sense of a 95-year-old, and also the smoking habits of like a 60-year-old.
She wears like 80s leg warmers. No, wait, it's one of those things like Rock Lee. The thing he wears on her legs. And she's wearing it on her tummy. It's like
fuck, I guess it is.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. I swear to God, Fujimoto seems to be both a talent magnet and a weirdness magnet, because it is arguable that Fujimoto has one of the best current running series in Jump right now. And all the people who like worked as his assistants went on to do some pretty cool things. Like Yuki Kaji was one of his assistants. He went on to write Hell's Paradise. I would need to check who else he influenced, but like Dandadan is another one of them, and that's cool. And
I can't remember his name, but I think the other one was Spy Family.
That seems like less.
Spy Family is
less Fujimoto-y.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But that's why I said he's a talent magnet and a weirdness magnet. Some people get attracted to the talent side, and others get attracted to the weirdness side. And like Dandadan is very clearly like I struggle to think of even like a small group of people that could have produced this very specific piece of art, like this combination of ideas and zaniness. Like you can't really try to do that. It comes off as artificial. What I'm saying is that this is the natural product of a sicko.
Did you see that interview where they're like, do you have an idea for your next series? And it's like, Yeah, it's a guy who rejects a bunch of girls, and then the girls kill themselves and they haunt him. How do you like it? It's like, yes, that's great. That sounds fucking.
Whatever floats your boat, my
That
guy.
sounds cool as fuck.
Whatever floats your boat, yeah. I checked it out. Tatsuya Endo was an assistant on Just Fire Punch.
Okay.
Which
Right.
is also an insane read. Jesus Christ.
I kind of
Well,
fell
well,
off of that.
Let,
I lost interest.
let's not get into that. We'd be looking into the rabbit hole only to find like 17 different warrants connected to it.
Right.
Yes, the Fujimoto hole runs deep. Although I guess the last thing I would talk about Fujimoto is that if you haven't had the opportunity, or I guess the theater run has already gone by, but whenever it does come out digitally or through streaming, which it most definitely will,
Oh, Look Back.
go watch Look Back. Look
Yeah.
Back was a phenomenal film. And it only clocks in at just over an hour long, so it's like a really digestible chunk over one of the one-shots that he wrote between Chainsaw Man Parts 1 and 2, so if anything else, also would give a huge recommendation to that.
Yeah, sadly, I have not seen it, but whenever it does come out digitally, go watch it. I love the one shot. I'm sure the film was also handled well. So yeah. Is there anything about Down to Down that I failed to mention that we failed to mention? I think that's it. Yeah.
Kensuke Ushio, I guess, is also doing the composing, and he's just an absolute
yeah.
baller whenever it comes to making
Somehow I
soundtracks.
forgot.
They've also got this guy on the mix too. It's just
Yeah,
like,
you know,
what the
only
fuck is this
only
team?
only one of the best composers in the entire industry, and possibly one of the most idiosyncratic.
Yeah, setups. You don't hear much of it, although his mixes do like start popping off in the middle of the UFO, but it really does kick into high gear for episode 2, and you really do start hearing that. You hear a bit of ping pong, you hear a bit of a silent voice, you hear a bit of Devilman Crybaby in those, and he is just man can't miss.
Funnily enough, my first exposure to his work was fucking the last time I was on this podcast, Heike Monogatari. So it
Also
was
very
really
great.
fun to go from tragic downfall of a clan of Japanese nobles witnessed through the eyes of a girl who can witness past and future but can't do anything to affect either, to I have his dong and now you need to come and chase me to get it back. The duality of...
All right. Have we talked long enough about Dan Da Dan? Anything else? Any final remarks?
Yeah.
I truly believe
No.
there is never enough time to talk about Dandadan, but yes, we should move on.
Are we done to done?
We need to move on now after that terrible...
ReZero!
fun.
ReZero is back. It's the third season of everybody's favorite Isekai. Everybody's favorite protagonist, Hyundai, is back to save the day, maybe. Leaving off exactly where...
Yeah.
Leading on? Picking up where the other left off. Like
Yeah, picking off where season 2 left off, yes.
Yes. Like,
Yeah.
right after. So what do we think?
Well, not quite right after, but...
right.
In universe, it's not right after, but
I guess that's
it
been
is
kind of a time
like
skip.
sort of expected that season 2 is fresh in your mind, because there are a
Right.
bunch of... There's new dynamics that only make sense if you have season 2 fresh in your mind.
He's like doing
yeah.
an obstacle course. He's training himself to be a knight.
Yeah. Do you want me to give the synopsis on this, or...
Go right ahead.
Yep, I have
Okay.
not seen a single one, but honestly, just go for it, because odds are I'm not going to
Okay,
be jumping
cool,
into this
yeah.
anytime soon.
Oh. We have a joiner. Hello, Mo. Hello,
However,
Moz.
this man might have something to
Mosila
say.
Finnegan is here.
Say about what?
Hello.
ReZero season 3.
Yeah. I've seen that.
All right.
You've seen it.
Yeah. So the series starts after a 1-year time skip from season 2. We open up basically on Subaru doing an obstacle course as part of his continuous slow like background journey of getting just physically fit enough to not die immediately. He finally clears it. We see he now does a whip to do parkour, and it is we kind of like establish dynamics between the new crew since Garfield is now part of the crew. He has aged 1 year, and you can barely tell. Otto has now become the long-suffering, much disrespected older brother to a Chunibyo tiger child, and this weird mad oracle guy who also says some of the most cringe shit you've ever heard, and his new basically sibling, Great Spirit. Yeah, it's fun.
This is all completely true, by the way. None of what he said is made up.
Yeah, no, not. Listen, I will tell you.
It sounded like a bunch of bullshit, but no, that's the show.
That's the show. It's fun. I will say I understand the criticisms of the 90-minute runtime. I'm not sure if I like it entirely myself on an artistic level. I do understand it on like the level of okay, we need to get to the key jangling, so we need to get to Sirius, the lovely woman you see on screen right now,
The best girl of all
killing
time.
everybody. But I do wish they could have just chopped it up into 4 TV length episodes. Yeah. So then the entire Amelia camp is invited by Anastasia Hoshin, another candidate in the royal selection, to the water city of Pristella,
The Watergate.
which
City.
is yeah, it's like Subaru directly compares it to Venice, but it's not quite Venice in the sense of the canals weren't built to like sustain the city. The entire city was built as a giant trap for one of the witches of sin. So the city has like 4 water gates, and when they're closed, obviously it dams up the water and the entire city doesn't drown. If you unlock those gates, the entire city starts to fucking drown.
Seems like an extremely nerve-wracking place to live.
There's a design flaw in there somewhere.
So we built this city with like nuclear bombs in the sewers. People just live here.
See, like on the one hand, I
As
get that.
one
On the
does.
other hand, there are still people living in coastal areas where like hurricanes are a thing and can just show up and completely wreck your everything.
I
so
mean, there's still people
I
living
can't say
in
it's the most-
America.
That's right,
We're not the
Florida.
only ones
Fuck
who
you,
get hurt.
Florida.
Earthquakes and hurricanes, tornadoes.
Earthquakes is not just an us thing. The country this cartoon comes from has more earthquakes than we do. Come on.
And they still live there. But it's not like
Yeah.
one earthquake and then everything dies. This is like one gate is busted and everybody drowns.
But yeah, so nearly every single party in the royal selection is there for their own reasons, and the big inciting incident is again Sirius, the lovely woman you see on your screen there. Basically announces a hostile takeover of the city, and it's an invasion by 4 different archbishops of sin of the witch cult, and now everybody needs to try and not die.
It turns out that's difficult.
Yes, quite difficult.
And they do it all the time. Die, that is. Her power
Yeah.
is interesting. It's like
Sirius's, you mean?
yeah. It's like
Why
a
so
fascinating way
serious?
of killing, like getting people wrapped up in the moment, and then like whatever happens to one person happens to the rest. Because like, how the fuck
Yeah,
do you
it's
fight that?
yeah, it's like sympathetic magic plus mania.
Yeah, you whip everybody up into a frenzy, and then like one person, like the kid, gets splattered on the ground, and then everybody just explodes.
On that note, though, it was very funny to me that because Subaru loops a bit, and then Amelia goes like, "Hey, I can fight too. Stop trying to do things yourself." And Subaru goes like, "Okay, we need to get to the tower. There's gonna be someone up there." And then Amelia just immediately shoots a giant fucking icicle into the tower.
Like, got
before
her.
he could even finish the sentence. And Subaru's like, "Whoa!" And Amelia's like, "Oh, sorry. I thought we should get her before she got us. Was that not the best idea?"
That was a great idea. If you'd hit.
Well, no, like, I guess she did miss, but at the same time, like, it was a fairly big icicle. What's funnier is that It's not the icicle attack that stops Sirius. It's her going into like incel rage over the
yeah.
fact that Amelia is alive.
She's too slutty. How dare she have those boobs and
Slutty.
that hair and those
Yes.
ears and
Funny, the character who still right now does not know that sex makes babies and only graduated from kissing does not make babies sometime in the time skip.
gotta start somewhere, right?
I can't believe you
What?
people would objectify Amelia like this. I am disgusted. I,
Maz,
for
are
one,
we
would
going
never
to
say
No
such
one
things.
would ever.
Maz, do I need to go dig up your fucking post about Sakamoto Chloe again?
That's a completely different character.
Is
So,
it
by all
though?
means.
Is it? It's the same principle. Come on.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, people should
No.
objectify Lucia more. Because she's fucking awesome.
Who's Lucia?
Isn't that her name? Mummy? Raps girl?
No, serious.
I thought
Serious.
that was serious.
Is there someone
Yeah,
named Lucia? No.
Who the fuck is
I think you're
Lucia?
Who the fuck is Lucia?
I don't
Are
know.
you okay?
No.
I'm glad we're all on the same page here.
Serious.
Please, friend, lay off the energy drink. It's not worth it.
I did finish it. It's too late.
No, no.
Oh god.
I have another one.
No!
I'm not gonna touch that one. I'll die. Yeah, serious. She's great.
So
And people should
yeah.
objectify her more.
yeah. So, because you've been talking about it a bit over Discord, Moz. I'm curious to hear more about like what you think of this season because you and I are coming at this from different perspectives. Season 2 is still pretty fresh in my mind, and I'm also a source reader, but it doesn't seem to be that fresh in yours, and that's not like a knock on you. It's been 4 fucking years. So yeah.
It's not fresh for me, and also I don't remember too much because I just specifically did not like that season. I've come to realize, especially with season 2, that there are very, very specific things that I like and dislike about ReZero. So sometimes the balance of them is kind of out of whack. And I would say that this season is a lot more like season 1, where it's got a lot more of what I like. Because specifically season 2 was just like way too expo heavy for my liking, and specifically too much about like one thing. It felt like they were just in that sanctuary that entire freaking time, and it felt like it was only really for one purpose, and it got old. But this time they've got a lot more stuff going on. It seems like this
Yeah.
is going to be a much shorter arc as well, which thank God. And also much more stuff will get done, and it's a lot less expo heavy. So this is a lot better.
Yeah, so as a source reader, season 2 was like that because the arc they were adapting was also just that fucking thick in the
Yeah.
novels. I would need to check, but arc 4, the arc that they were adapting, I'm fairly certain is longer than all the
Yes.
previous arcs fucking combined. Like
Yeah,
that shit
it was at least as
long.
long as the first 3 arcs. I
Yeah.
definitely I remember
loved it.
I remember
yeah.
people saying that when after season 1 ended, like, oh yeah, season 2 is going to be just one arc. It's going to be this long. Hooray!
Yeah,
Huzzah.
I loved it. I loved everything they did with that, but I do understand like we've been here this whole time. Although one thing that I've increasingly gone to believe that I think I might just be wired differently. I seem to have a higher tolerance for exposition than most people, since I didn't mind all the exposition in season 2, and I actually liked it because it was all shit I wanted to know about. But I guess some people just go like, okay, I'm watching a cartoon. Please do not take me back to college lectures.
The thing with ReZero, this is its double-edged sword. ReZero is a very, very indulgent and excessive series, and I think that encompasses basically all facets of it. Like it's very indulgent and excessive in how it's torturing Subaru, but it's also very indulgent and excessive in just how it's presenting itself and its world. Like it has to get across every single detail that it wants to about its world and its characters. A lot of which I don't think is entirely necessary. And that's how I've kind of felt about like the first episode in general. Lots of expo there that I thought was like not that important or interesting. At the very least could be condensed. Like it just went on too long. And I really was kind of thinking like some of the dialogue just looped around too much. It's like, guys, you can simplify this, get your point across in way less time. You do not need this much time to explain all of this. That's kind of how I feel about this series in general. But I also understand, I want to get this across. What the things that I don't like about ReZero might also be the things that people do like about it. Like I also understand why someone would like the things that I'm complaining about. So ReZero has really fascinated me with this aspect. Like, and anytime I complain about something, someone would be like, "Yeah, but that's good though. That's a good thing that you're complaining about." So your mileage may vary on all of this.
Your mileage does seem to vary based on past experience. Yeah. Also, Block. I did see her quote unquote buff. I noticed it. It's a thing that exists. Meh. But yeah,
I think it's very funny that they have made Amelia's boobs giant because I don't care about this character and I've always found her attractive. So this is great for me.
I don't
like this character, but I felt like she was attractive enough without the boob inflation. Like, guys,
that is also true, but I don't know. I just find it funny.
She's a beautiful fucking like half elf with silver hair and purple eyes, dressed in white and purple. What fucking tasteless cretin needs even bigger boobs?
I will
Why
say.
Why can't you have more?
Okay, so my cats are fucking around. Sorry for that noise. I will say, if we could talk about this like maybe mildly seriously, I do find it like to be a strange design choice, if nothing else. Or in fact, in general, it kind of perplexes me how ReZero is like half of the cast is very elegantly and modestly designed in all the right ways, and also half of the cast is just complete gooner bait. And like the content of this series isn't really trying to be gooner bait. Like there isn't a lot of particularly sexual humor or commentary, but sometimes the characters look like that anyway. And you take Amelia in particular, you take this very nice, kind, modest character who is very innocent in nature, and then make her very provocative looking. Like there's a clash there, and the fact that the show never draws any attention to it makes it even weirder to me, to be completely honest with you.
I
actually would appreciate, like, I almost feel like more goonering would be needed in this case. Like when Sirius is going on her rant, she's like, "Oh, you have that silver hair to seduce men, and you have those eyes to seduce men." And I'm just like, come on, say it. Say the thing that everybody watching this show is thinking. Comment on her body. Just do it. We're all thinking the same thing, but the show never addresses it, and I find that to just be, again, a little bit weird. I don't know. Maybe this is just a world where sex isn't as valued or something. But again, it's weird.
Am I going crazy? I feel like I'm being gaslit into thinking her tits are bigger than they are. I didn't even really notice.
They absolutely. Is this a bit?
No.
No, it's not a bit.
Yeah, I was wondering if this was going to be a bit referencing me in Steins Gate Zero. That's all.
I mean, it is funny that you're pointing this out and you vehemently deny that. What's her name?
Steins Gate Zero.
What's her name?
Tutoru. Yeah, what's her name? God, I'm blanking.
Mayuri
Shina. That you're like denying that hers got bigger in Zero, and they did. Jesus Christ, they did.
Yeah. Okay, so Maz, there is actually one man that a lot of people tend to blame for the random gooner shit in ReZero, and it's not the author, it's the illustrator Shinichiro Otsuka.
Oh,
and,
yeah,
like,
I imagine that.
Every single time, you're like, it is truly whiplash, because you're reading the novel, right? It's got prose, not many images or whatever, and you're reading this, and it's like really it's given gravitas, it's given emotional weight, and then sometimes you flip the fucking page, and then you see the drawings of is that a teenage doll, or what? Where the fuck are her clothes? Why is she like that? And then you flip back and you go, was this character described this way? What?
I guess maybe this wouldn't be as much of a problem in novel form because, it's just not as visual.
I would argue
So-
it's actually worse because you go from the whiplash of, oh, hey, I'm reading, I have vague mental images of these characters, but I'm mostly enjoying the way that their inner thoughts and personalities are conveyed through text. And then you flip the fucking page and you see, again, a man seemingly drawing, like, weird teenage, vaguely sexual, doll-like figures, making very unserious faces, and you just go, fucking hell, not again. There's an infamous illustration of a scene where it's supposed to be like Amelia's having an emotional breakdown and like sobbing, and then you flip the page and she's like barely crying, and her face just looks kind of sad. There's like one tear, and the entire illustration is just very uncanny. I can send you that shit later. It's weird, but yeah.
Single tear. Sorry, I've got converged brain rot. ReZero is born to be Kino, doomed to be light novel trash.
Hey,
You
light
hate to
novels
see
can
it.
be good. I will fight you on this. Light
Yeah.
novels can be good. 86 is some of the best shit I've ever read, and I refuse to have you slander the medium it comes from.
It's impossible. It's like
86 is an exception, not a rule.
I will still fight
That is
you on
that is my response to that.
light novels and visual novels. Get in the bin. They
Also,
don't-
I
86
will
is
fight
also a
both of
series
you.
that
Visual novels are great.
Nope.
86 is also a series that I think would benefit from having more goonering because I also don't care about
Let's
86.
go.
Oh, okay, I'm not gonna go on this tangent for too long, but the funny thing is that, like, the anime is less horny than the light novels because, like, well, the content of the light novels themselves aren't always the horniest. You flip to the afterword of Volume 1, and the literal first fucking sentence that the author has written is, "Aren't garter belts just the best?" And you go,
Oh my god, really?
I
I'm gonna
see,
go check
okay.
this. Hang on.
They are pretty great.
Yeah, that I am not joking. That is an actual thing that happens with 86 volume. But yeah, I one thing about like Gooner shit that I'm actually fucking tired of is like people keep joking
Oh my
that
god! Wow.
Subaru. Yeah, it's right there, Maz. People
He
keep
wasn't
joking that, like,
kidding, folks. It really is the first sentence in the afterword.
Shout out to Asato, bisexual mecha fan legend. But yeah, possibly bisexual. I won't comment on her sexuality, but she seems both into men and women. But I'm not going to speak for her, obviously.
They would.
Yeah. So one thing that I am annoyed about is like all the jokes about Subaru, like somehow being like a lolicon or something in
The
like,
Lolimancer, the little
I
girl
joked
user.
earlier on Discord. I joked earlier on Discord, going like, "Guys, please stop it. I'm afraid Kenny is gonna rip him a new asshole across space and time." But like, there's a line from Subaru in episode 1 where like Rom sees him with like Beatrice and another like small child, and she goes like, "You're a pervert," and Subaru just immediately goes like, "You're the one who has something wrong with them if you see this scene and see anything but something."
If
just
you see this as
heartwarming." I just
anything
go,
but
yeah.
wholesome,
Yeah, he's fucking right. He's fucking right. Why are you guys still doing this joke? It's not funny.
It's
Never
funny.
been funny.
It
It's
is
never gonna
funny.
be funny.
fuck
Stop
you.
it.
It is funny.
I really like the Beatrice Subaru connection. I think
Yeah,
that's
me too.
cool.
I like her.
It's nice to see her like tone down her abrasiveness to just these two are just playing. Like I said, their dynamic is like siblings.
Right.
They're very clearly not like romantically attached to each other, and both of them would probably like puke if you tried to insinuate that. But they're very physically comfortable around each other. Like Beatrice just kind of comfortably sits in Subaru's lap or holds his hand whenever they go outside. They both make like the same little silly hand gesture, going like, what's going on?"
They're-
and
they're like linked.
Yeah.
Right. Like mentally, psychically, whatever.
No, they're not like sharing thoughts, but they do have a spirit contract. And Subaru
they
has
have an
had a lot of
obligation.
yeah. Subaru has had a lot of different friends. The entirety of season 2 is basically just slapping him with the "you have friends" paddle until he lets them fucking help. But it is nice to see someone who's very close to him in a way that not all these other characters can necessarily be. Because okay, Otto is the realest of real ones. I will not have anyone disrespect my boy, but I can't really see Otto being comfortable with Subaru in the same way that Beatrice is, and that's a good dynamic. Because
You can't
obviously,
imagine
even in real
Subaru
life,
giving Otto a
different people.
piggyback ride and letting him do magic
I
off
could.
his shoulders.
I mean, like, I can't imagine him doing magic, but now that you say it, no, I could actually imagine him giving Otto a piggyback ride. Fuck.
Yeah, isn't that adorable?
That's cute.
Sorry, it's mostly just been Moz and I yapping. Panic Shakers, do you have anything to say?
I mean, I don't really have much to add. Um,
Nope, same on my end.
I will.
I witnessed I Love Amelia back in 2016, and I have not really tuned in since.
yeah.
Understandable.
Bro's a
I
Rem
haven't
fan.
to say.
Rem is still missing in action.
Oh no.
Yeah, and congratulations
Oh,
if
I'm
you
sorry.
only like Rem and you just haven't watched the series since season 1. Congratulations, you have missed nothing.
I don't
You've missed
understand.
literally no
Nothing if
Rem
you
content
only like
whatsoever.
Rem. Yeah,
Like at
Hey,
my
you missed one episode at the beginning of season 2, and that's it.
at my nerd like hobby store where I go to play Warhammer and stuff, they still have like one entire shelf of figurines that is just a Rem variant. She is somehow still like the most popular anime girl of all time. It makes
I
no
frankly
sense.
do not know. Yeah,
It's
Shaw,
crazy.
you know, I was gonna do a friend of the pod joke, but no, Shaw's a father of the pod, parent.
You
Because like the name is Tokyo Podfathers now, but Shaw's not a dude. Pod mother, pod
She's
parent?
Sha King.
Shaw, what do you
A
want
lot
to
of
be
people
called?
did. A lot of people thought that though.
well, because the name is King.
Yeah, I
right?
mean, like-
Sha King.
And
Well,
also,
yeah,
women
true.
on the internet aren't real.
Yeah, they don't
No,
exist.
I guess we can call her a podfather if she's okay.
Sure.
But yeah,
She's a podfather.
so-
Yes, you can. It's okay.
Okay. All right, Podfather. But yeah, Shaw had a bit of a Twitter thread back in the day where she basically kind of notes that she just sees Rem everywhere as kind of this cynical symbol of like the anime industry's, you know, tendency to cater towards sad, like lonely losers.
She's
And
like industry.
as much as I
plant.
like Rem the character, and I like how her arc resolves, even no, resolves is the wrong word. I like how her arc progresses, even the I Love Amelia moment. I can't deny that she has been very much turned into like this waifu fantasy and been
Yeah, I mean,
commodified, and now she's everywhere.
they-
and
they
that can
took-
breed
they
resentment.
they took the idea of Ray and they just made her like even more like tailor made to the lonely weeb.
Yeah.
Tailor-made
just,
for
you know-
Tay specifically.
Just please ignore the fact that Rem murders Subaru on several occasions before she warms up to him.
But that also makes it a little hot, right? Like some
That
very
probably also
stuff.
makes it better for some
Yeah.
people.
Everyone loves a yandere. I
could-
do want to say
he could
before-
fix her.
I do want to say.
I mean, we are talking
this
to
was-
the CEO of Future Diary, so
Exactly. I want to say, adding on to something Shoulder said a few minutes ago, like with Subaru and Beatrice, it kind of made me realize as I was saying that ReZero is actually good at having like weird character, like duos like that, like really unlikely combinations that are just like, okay, sure, this is actually a good combination. Like maybe the most famous is Crucian Felix, because everyone loves Felix so much. That's a good one.
yeah.
But Beatrice and Subaru is a good one. I really like Garfield and that kid.
Garfield
Mimi?
and Mimi.
Yeah, I think I like that. I like that character. That's a good combo right there as well.
Yeah, part of what makes Garfield and Mimi work specifically, I think, for me, is that like Garfield, befitting the fact that he's a recovering traumatized tiger boy, is jumpy and guarded around other people, except for the people he trusts, like Subaru and Otto, and I'll get into that later. But he there's a subplot in this season where he finds his mom, who has gotten amnesia and doesn't remember him anymore. And he's like emotionally jitterish and guarded and whatnot. But Mimi just kind of blows through all that by acting like a child and being earnest, not because like she's stupid or doesn't understand what's going on, but more, one, I think that's just how she is since she also behaved that way when we first met her in season 1. But 2, that childlike earnestness being put on deliberately helps Garfield kind of come out of his guarded shell and work through his lingering ass trauma from last season and be more emotionally open. And that's nice to see. It's always nice to see when like two side characters are doing their own thing that doesn't have too much to do with the main character and it's like meaningful. It further contributes to the idea that like, this world doesn't revolve around like one person as its axis, and that's always nice to see in a story.
Yeah.
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 I'll just give a few shout-outs to the voice performances. I did not know until C5 pointed out to me, another friend of ours, that Sirius, the abandoned woman, is voiced by Chika Anzai, and I was like, wait, that's Reina. That's Reina, the teacher fucker, and then also Chisato. What the fuck? Range! Because Sirius doesn't really sound like Reina or Chisato. Chisato is like, bubbly and bouncy and hyper and all that, and then Reina is just emotionally stoic and really serious and whatnot. Meanwhile, Sirius is deranged.
No, I just now realized that this season has Panic's favorite actress as well.
Ooh.
Who's his favorite actress?
Yuki Aoi.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, she's everywhere.
Yeah, she voices the Lust Archbishop.
Yeah, Capella.
Oh.
Yeah, Archbishop
I haven't
of
seen
Lust.
the
Yeah,
third
we barely
episode.
met her. We barely met her. It's okay. You're not missing much. But yeah.
It's like my favorite actress. I'm like, who's my favorite actress? I do love Aoi Yuki.
And, yeah. And also, I think we would also be remiss to talk about the other big villain. There's 4 Sin Archbishops, but we've been introduced to 2, and they seem to be taking front and center right now.
Mr. Steelio Girl, the best character of the whole series.
Maz, I hope you do
so
realize that.
Cool.
Maz, I hope you do realize that now I'm going to have to call you a Manosphere podcaster, and you will never live this shame down, because Regulus Corneus...
I don't know what that
Archbishop,
means.
The Regulus Corneus, the Sin Archbishop of Greed of the Witch's Cult, is pretty much just ReZero Andrew Tate.
You know what? He's fictional, so I like him.
That is a line, yes. He is not in the real world committing sex trafficking before possibly getting so pissed off by an innocuous comment that a child made that he got himself busted. But he is just as hateable. You wish for him to explode just as much. Yeah.
No, I actually
for
wish
those of us
that
who...
the rest of the show would just be him fucking Amelia. That's
Hell
what
yeah.
that is my wish.
My man.
That is my only desire for
you're
this
the
series moving forward.
You're the motherfucker who saw like the Cali horse audio and went like, yes, more of this because chaos.
That was me.
Actually, no. Yeah, that's right. I have respect for Callie like that.
I'm starting to respect her more because she respects my hobby, Warhammer. The VTuber to Warhammer pipeline is strong.
It's still so funny that she apologized for telling the Cadians to go home.
They don't have a home, you heartless.
Yeah. Okay. So Panic. Quick sidebar before we wrap up ReZero, and I want you to tell me if this is accurate. From what I know, telling the Cadians to go home in 40K is like the equivalent to, in the real world, telling a group of Pacific Islanders whose home was like destroyed by nuclear bomb tests to go home.
Yeah, I mean their planet is gone.
Yeah.
It had a big spaceship thrown into it, and it exploded and tore the galaxy in half. It's bad.
Yeah. Yeah. There are so many other fucking subplots in ReZero Season 3 that are gonna be fun, but as Maz just mentioned a few moments ago, your mileage is gonna vary on how much you care about them. So the last thing I'm just gonna leave off on is I like Subaru, Otto, and Garfield's dynamic because it's like they all seem to have one responsibility brain cell, and like it hot potatoes between Subaru and Otto, except it mostly stays with Otto as he tries to chain one of his depressed and lacking in self-esteem bros to the ground to make sure he doesn't do anything stupid, while trying to chain the other one to the ground to make sure he doesn't do anything stupid because he's been living inside a closed area for like the last 14 years of his fucking life. And we see him like get hung over already in the first episode, and I just go like, I feel you, man. Hang in there.
It was just so nice to finally get back to the super dying horrifically and hopelessly, waking up and being like all out of it because it's been so long since he did that, and then realizing he woke up like 5 minutes before he was killed. It's like he has no time to put together a solution.
Subaru raging at the FromSoft of this world, going like, "What the fuck
Yeah.
did you put the
What
bonfire
the
here? You
fuck? It's
sadistic
like the
assholes."
respawn timer is ridiculous. What do you mean? This is like I have 10 minutes to save the world from, what do you say, 4 archbishops?
Forest archbishops, yes. Yeah. So
It's,
yeah, Rizio,
yeah.
I mean, fun. I can't entirely say that if you liked the seasons before, you'll like this
I
one
still,
because
I'm
people care.
still, I'm gonna call. I
Yes.
haven't seen episode 3. I don't know if it's happened yet. I mean, I was gonna call it that they solve the, because the way Sirius's power works, like you have to pay attention to her. You can be snapped out of it. It is possible. And I'm thinking they're gonna use that music player. What's her name?
Liliana.
Liliana. They're gonna use her to like do a concert and snap people out of it before they kill her, and then nobody dies. I'm gonna call that.
All right, we shall see. That's a bold called patent. We'll see how it pays off.
We'll see how that goes in the episode that is already out
Oh,
and we
damn.
have seen.
Oh damn.
Yeah. But yeah. Please ignore the fact that like the most sport I know is maybe pro wrestling if you count that. But yeah. Should we move on to Negapasa Angler?
We should move right along because we're 2 shows in and 1 hour.
Okay, and I'm
fuck,
gonna
yeah.
leave because I
All
haven't
right.
seen any of this.
See you
So I
later.
will stop
All right,
ruining the
goodbye,
podcast.
Mom.
Good night.
Hey,
Night.
no, you were fun to talk about.
Oh, actually, the one last thing I wanted to say is that I also like Garfield in this season because I relate to his trauma of fumbling a hot goth girl.
Fuck yeah. That's the saddest thing I've ever
Quite
heard.
the, yep,
Anyway,
quite the note to leave on.
rest in peace, Maz.
Rest in
All right.
peace, Maz. May your Riz be higher in the future.
Negative, positive, angular. It's a fishing show. I mean, I like fishing shows.
Jakers, you also watched this one, right?
I remember
Yeah.
when I think it
Yeah.
was Doga Kobo. They did 2 fishing shows, like 2 seasons in a row. Like one was Slow Loop, the other I forget what was called. But they were both pretty great. I hope, is this like a feel good thing or is it like traumatic?
I cannot relate or guarantee that it is quite feel good. I mean, the first 5 seconds of the first episode, you are introduced to a failed hanging.
I mean, that can
So
be
it doesn't really-
good. It's a
Yeah.
failed hanging, so that's good.
It doesn't
Yeah,
really
then he
start
goes
off on a
to the
positive note.
Then he goes to the hospital and finds out there's a brain tumor in his head, and he's only got 2 years if he doesn't operate. So yeah, it's
Sure.
content warning for that. Jakers, have you seen all the episodes? Because I only managed to get episode 1.
I've gone through the first 3, yeah, but essentially,
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
the first episode really does run a laundry list of probably one of the worst setups for a dude that I've seen, where it's kind of like, look, I understand this guy's a fuck up. I can get it. He doesn't deserve to fail his own hanging, lose 90% of his finances in an investing scam, flunk his entire portfolio, lose himself into massive debt into some loan sharks that are related to the Yakuza.
Fumble a goth
Falls
girl.
off a bridge. Falls off a bridge into running waters that would have potentially killed him if not for the fact that there was a boat nearby. Was diagnosed with a terminal brain cancer that doesn't really give him more than 2 years to live, and at the end of it has the opportunity to go through and say, well, at least I got a roof over my head. Up until the last minute when he realizes that one of the many notices that he decided to forego or just completely ignore was a notice
Eviction?
for land readjustment right on top of his apartment, and so now he doesn't even have a house.
But I'm sure he
So, like-
loves fishing.
It helps.
It helps.
It kind of helps, yeah.
Oh my god. Alright, so this guy is like rock bottom as you can be. He's below the rocks, actually. He's somehow in like
He's in Rock Bottom's secret basement. He's not doing well.
he's like Lego Rock Raiders bottom, deep down. But I assume he meets a manic pixie dream girl who teaches him how to fish.
Essentially,
Really?
yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That is one way you can interpret it.
A manic
And a whole
manic
cast and
pixie
crew. Yeah.
fish girl.
Yes, and she's not the only one that incentivizes him to fish, thankfully. So at the very least, you've got a colorful cast related to try and get him out of his funk. They don't really know his life story, but at the very least, it's kind of like, man, fishing won't solve all of your problems, but at the very least, it will attempt to give you some levity in the shit that you're going through. So it was very much a like there like you said before, there are a lot of shows where it's more like Iyashikei, it's more calming, it's more something towards the rest of it. This is a little less like that, where I wouldn't necessarily call it a drama, but it really doesn't shy away from kind of taking this guy through the ringer and floating the idea where it's kind of like, you know what, life's still okay as long as you got fishing and a tackle box under your belt. So
Fuck yeah, words to live by.
because I will admit the majority of the reason why I started this was because a buddy of mine is a fisher and I was going to be curious to see how this would essentially relate to a lot of the lure fishing that he does. Most of his stuff is smaller ponds on the East Coast and settling up at 5 and 6 in the morning, where this is more off the coast of Japan, like boating out to a breakwater in the middle of the bay to have the opportunity to go through and get some catches. But yeah, I would say it gives a little bit more of a dingier lifestyle, like more run-of-the-mill sort of thing,
Right.
where you are very much coaxed into this guy's life whether you like it or not, and it's
Right.
not necessarily the most inviting set to go into.
Yeah.
Must have been a rude awakening to fucking go in, and then you go, hey, what's going on here? You look inside and see a guy fail to hang himself. Oh.
Fuck yeah. I mean, I love fishing anime. I think I'm gonna check this out. I was like on the edge, on the fence about checking
Yeah,
it
but
out, but it sounds promising.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Maybe
look terrible.
don't start. Yeah, maybe don't start the first episode at night, since again,
It's
attempted
great.
suicide is attempted suicide.
I don't care.
But yeah,
It's like as I get older, the urge to live in a coastal cabin and just fish grows larger day by day. Yeah.
the fish, the women want me, fish fear me hat calls to you.
I can't do that here though, because like fucking farming has ruined all coastal life in my country, so that's
Oh.
awesome.
That sucks.
Can't fish it. Like the ocean is just dead.
That sucks.
We all know why, but no one is willing to do anything. That's great. Don't even get me started. Yeah. So I'm gonna check this out. I'm sure
Yeah,
everything's
I would-
gonna turn out just fine for Mr.
Yeah.
Suicidal Cancer Man.
I
Yeah.
personally hope this goes in a similar direction as Yakuza Like a Dragon, where you see a guy at the absolute worst point of his life, and then he slowly claws his way back up to a better place.
Yeah, I'm sure it's
I
gonna be
sincerely hope that's where it goes.
like somehow his change in attitude. He gets happier because he fishes, and like lightening up like reduces the severity of it somehow. I don't know. Or maybe he just fucking dies.
Or who knows? Maybe he just gets his friends, and his 2 years is up. It's kind of like, well,
Yep.
it was nice while it lasted.
Yeah, and that's a lesson too. It's like he enjoyed the time he had. He made the best of it. So that it could all be a feel good story of the summer.
Yeah,
knows?
I would say I'm not really on this dude's side. He's not that redeemable or enjoyable to be around because the majority of his fuck ups are mostly self-inflicted. So and he kind of continues to run away from his problems, and it doesn't necessarily like give
That's
you
also
anything towards the rest of
relatable.
it.
I mean, there's
To
room
be
to grow, I
fair-
guess.
Because at least he has room to grow. Who I actually, it's the one good thing I do appreciate about this show is that I am more curious about the ensemble cast that is around it, where it's kind of like, look, at the very least, I don't care about this main dude. If he lives, he lives. If he dies, he dies. But the way that they're at least going through and expanding on the group of people who work part-time at this convenience store and they all love to fish, and like where their different stories come from in life and where like how they all met and congealed into this one like fishy mass of people with different ages, different walks of life, different pieces. Those are the stories that I'm more curious about and the ones that are going to keep me invested in continuing to watch this show. But yeah, maybe the main dude will come back into it, but at the very least it does seem like the colorful cast around him is picking up a lot of the weight that he's leaving behind.
Yeah.
Cool.
I would also agree with that. Fuck, I wish I could remember his full name. I think he's named Tsunehiro.
He is. I
Tsunehiro
have it right
is
here.
it is okay, cool.
Sasaki.
Yeah, Tsuruhiro is not doing great right now, but hopefully his life picks up in the meantime. Everyone else is really fun because one little light bit that I do really like is the dude, the slightly flamboyant one. I wish I could remember his name. Fuck. Pink hair.
Takaki?
Maybe he's the guy who like teaches.
Sujimori?
Okay, he's the guy who teaches Tsunehiro how to actually do the fishing motions,
All right.
and they do it. And like Tsunehiro asks him like, "So why do you guys fish?" And there's a neat little bit where Pink Man starts to go into like the usual. Well, you know, it's fun and everything, and it seems like he's going to lead up to like this big philosophical reason. But then he goes like, "Wait, why do we fish?" And then they just go around and ask people, and some of them just go like, "Oh, hey, it's fun. Why?" And then then other people just go like, "Why do we fish?"
I've never thought about that. Why do we fish?
It's like a reflex now. I throw the lure. I expect nothing. Sometimes I get a fish, and I guess I take it home and gut it, and the fish is tasty.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we do this? It's fun to see that little spin in the sense of we've been doing this for so long that we don't quite immediately remember why. We just know it brings us some measure of joy.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I would say as to why the show was made, though, it definitely is always nice. It definitely seems like there was a bunch of people inside production for Studio Nut was kind of like, well, we want to make an original show, and it's kind of like, so what hobby do we want to go through? It's like, oh yeah, no, I'm a fan of fishing. It's like, yes, I also want to get into fishing. We can use this as a, we can scout for locations, we can do our own research, and we can fish on our own time, and we could use it as kind of like a write-off because it's production material. It's not us having the opportunity to go through and like learn about fishing and having the opportunity there. It's like, we get to work and play at the same time.
It's the same energy as Aka Akasaka writing off his like trips to India as business expenses for research for a bonus manga chapter in Kaguya-sama Love is War.
Can confirm. I guess the only major thing, well, it's definitely a personal thing. I hate the main chick's hair. I really don't like how it's just one continuous. It looks like a rain droplet, like just fasten itself onto her back, or it just goes all the way down to her back. I do not like the blob. The blob is just
Blob
off the
hair,
back of her scalp.
blob hair, Hana there just posing with her blob hair as she pogs at a bass.
Like the energy, hate the hair.
Speaking of great hair, Uzumaki.
Oh, this one. Oh boy.
Uzumaki.
So from blobs to spirals.
Are we all, because there's like in episode 3 there's a bunch of hair stuff. Are we all
2. It was 2 there was
It's
a
in
lot of hair
2?
stuff.
It's in 2.
Yeah.
Right.
3 was personal nightmares beyond my comprehension, personal stuff that I hate that is
Hiding in walls.
that definitely made me uncomfortable, especially whenever it's related to insects, so just
Yup.
keep that away from me. But yeah, it's
Uzumaki
been a
is
ride.
like an iconic horror manga, and I fucking love it. I have it. It is 1998. It's like, it's so old. 20 many years old. It's like 10 out of 10 horror stuff. It's like
to the discussion here, but
page
I am
turners.
I am a baby and I cannot handle too much horror, and I am sure that if I watched Uzumaki, I would be terrified. I would shit my pants.
They do very good at the page turnery, like you see the eyes widening of a person, and then it just cuts to the most horrific shit you've ever seen.
Yeah, Junji Ito is one of the masters of Japanese horror, if not like one of the major mangaka that
think-
really does take it to the next level.
Like what
but
he
it's
really
his
does well,
page turns.
especially is like body horror. It's like the twisted, contorted, like the mouth is too long, the eyes are like poking out in a disgusting way. It's all way too detailed. He's made so much stuff, but I think Uzumaki is like his most.
That is his calling card. Like
That
that
is the
is his
calling
most
card.
notable work.
So that is obviously also the most vanilla pick for like favorite. Tomie is also great, but I think Uzumaki is just, it's in a league of its own. It's fucking incredible. And this, I had high hopes for this adaptation. And episode 1 really actually delivered. I thought they did great. Like on it, it's done in this way where they've obviously just like put this pen drawing filter over a bunch of 3D models. Sometimes they do that. Other times it's like very lovingly recreated double page spread, just straight up images from the manga, but recreated in anime. And other times it's like when people move around in big shots of crowds and stuff like that, it's obviously 3D models that they've put a filter over, but it looks pretty good in episode 1. In episode 2, it takes a dip in the big wider shots of people running, people fighting. Anytime, like any kind of action shot, it looks janky as fuck. But honestly, all the close-up face stuff and big horror reveals in episode 2, they still did great. I thought it was fine.
It's been leading through, and they've been at work at this for, God, 7 years, just
So
for
long.
an hour and a half of content.
And that's also how
yeah.
it was so shocking that in episode 1 it was nailed. They nailed it. In episode 2, it looks very rushed at times. It's like you've been making these 4 20-minute episodes for years. And so why did it look like that? We'll never know.
Yeah, it was definitely production interference, as in relation to episode 2. Like the episode director for that, even though there is a series composition director for this, there's still people that are in charge of those ones.
Yeah.
Apparently, because it gets better in 3. 2 was just not given as much time and like had a lot more roadblocks in the midst of going through. So because that's always the thing where Uzumaki looks stellar page by page, and it's always been awkward getting it to move, especially with like they did 3D models
that's always
for
been a
Gyo.
That's always been a problem with Junji Ito adaptations, and why it'll never be perfect because his style is so different from other manga, and they've tried so many
detailed.
times. This is like the closest I think we'll probably ever get to a fully faithful adaptation of it. And a lot of it is just like in the screenshot you're seeing, that is just a 1-to-1 rendition of a big like spread.
And it continues to go onwards towards the rest. And it's like, yeah, I definitely do think, because there's only 4 episodes for this. 3 just came out. We'll get 1 more to conclude the rest of the story. But from the rest onwards, I do think that regardless of the hiccup inside of 2, it's like based on the content and based on how the rest of this story goes, if they continue to stick the landing towards a lot of the stuff that they have been able to build up since the first episode, at the very least, we'll finally have a proper horror to recommend to anybody that's been interested in this kind of Japanese, just supernatural.
It's been a while since I've read it, but I don't remember it being told in this like cut back and forth way. It's more like an anthology kind of thing where everything is a full story, I think.
Because it's
in
piece
the
by
comic.
piece.
Yeah, it's like, this is the story about the dad who turns himself into a spiral. This is a story about the widow. This is a story about the guy who becomes a snail. It's like
This is the mother. This is the cousin.
Yeah. You like piece by piece, you see all these people be consumed by spirals in their own unique ways, and it is fucking fascinating and so creative, and I love it. It's like it's so simple but spacey. It's like, what would happen if everything was just absorbed by spirals, the concept of a spiral, and how many ways that can fuck people up, and like how many ways you can break the human body into spirals. It's
Yep.
horrifying. It's like cosmic horror kind of thing. It's like this town. Is the town called? No, what's the town called? I don't remember. It's not called Uzumaki, right?
Kurozucho.
Yeah, it sounds right. It's like a guy's like
Just a small
there's
rural
something
thing. Yeah.
something fucky. Everything is spirals, and he's looking at clouds that are spirals. His dad is becoming obsessed with the idea. Like, he swirls his soup before he eats it. He has to make it spiral before he can eat it. He has to make a swirl in the bath before he gets in. He starts, like, the first sign of stuff going really fucky is him, like, learning to move his eyes independently to spiral them around, and he can, like, extend his tongue to superhuman levels and make it a spiral. And he ends up buying this tub, this stretcher, and they find him stretched, like, into a spiral, completely broken and distorted inside this barrel, and it's nightmare fuel. And, like, that image of him broken into a spiral, it goes through, it's like the leitmotif, I guess. It keeps coming back. The mom sees him in every spiral, telling her to hurt herself and join him in the spiral. The image you're seeing is like his cremation smoke. He appears in the sky. It's like, it's just stellar work, and they've really done episode 1. They did a great job adapting it. Episode 2 and 3, okay. 3 better than 2. I'm excited for 4, but it's all these weird, extremely weird concepts of, like, this guy gets all slow and he turns into a snail, like he grows a spiral on his back. A girl who has a crescent scar on her forehead, it develops into a spiral and, like, bores through her skull. It's like all these concepts, like, it's so good. It's just incredible. I love it so much. And they've
Sound
done.
inviting, shoulder.
It's fascinating.
Yeah. I I don't have many thoughts on this, obviously, because I am, again, the baby when it comes to horror.
I don't love horror either, but
uh,
there's something different about Junji Ito stuff that I really get into. I think it's because it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, it's so well drawn.
I fully recognize him as a master of his craft. It's just that craft will give me nightmares for the rest of my life.
I went and saw.
I really do wish his works got better adaptations.
Yeah.
Like, his works just seem to be fucking cursed.
It's something
Feel
weird
bad for the
about
guy.
it where you have to go above and beyond to adapt it, because it's so ambitious in a way that I don't think directors expect. It's like, you can't just, like, if you put color on any of it, you ruin it. It has to be black and white. You can't give it color.
There is so much time and effort
Um,
that has to go into any one of those stories because of the detail, where
Like-
it looks phenomenal on the page, but getting that to move is a monumental task.
And the
in of its own.
weird stilted dialogue and the way people look around, the pauses, is like, you have to nail it, or else it becomes really awkward and bad, like the Junji Ito collection got. What
Yeah,
was
that
I
is something that we do not recommend.
No, not at all. I would love
No,
to see
we didn't.
Tomie adapted by this team, like, in another 6 years. Some of the other stuff.
Come on, man, just let me
So,
out of the room. It's been 6 years. I just want to see my kids, man.
I want to see my kids. It's like, is it
uh,
an American studio doing it? It's like Adult Swim and Production IG America or something.
They were on the production committee, so they
Alright.
helped.
I just
get
saw
it
that
off the
show up in the
ground.
credits, and I was like, damn, is this like an American production?
Yeah, the Adult Swim helped get it off the ground back in the 2010s, but it was mostly done in between. So a little bit of IG, a little bit of a random studio called Akatsuki, which mostly just does, like, they had bit parts in Hinamatsuri, they had bit parts in Chain Chronicle, Fooly Cooly Shoegaze they were a part of, and then another studio that basically only ever did this and a random show called Dog Signal out of Studio Fugaku. So it was kind of like a joint effort to try to get all of this off the ground. Like they needed they needed people. They needed more more opportunities to at least try to make this a reality.
Right.
Yeah. So two things that I wanted to talk about. The first thing I will get out of the way quickly because learning that Junji Ito is a dentist has only solidified my fear and
Is
just
he
more
really?
fear of the dentist. Because truly, only a fucking dentist can come up with the unspeakable cosmic horrors that he does.
Maybe it was
I'm
like
gonna check. I'm
he
almost
was.
certain that he's a dentist.
Maybe it's like him drilling teeth. He's just thinking about drills and spirals.
And that's the thing. It's like shit. I can imagine that.
But he
Uh,
seems like in all interviews, he's like the nicest guy. I have his manga of him and his cat diaries, where he just draws little stupid shit that his cats do, but it's in the style of Junji Ito, so it's like the most horrifying shit you've ever seen.
Yeah, like that's like the common joke that like
Yeah.
Junji Ito draws like the most horrifying shit you will ever see, and then you look at him in real life, he's just like, I like food, I like my cats.
Yeah.
Also, I checked, he's a dental technician, not. I'm pretty sure that's different from like an actual dentist, but
Yeah.
Now all I'm thinking
Yeah,
about is just Steve Martin's dentist song and just going through and yeah, son, be a dentist.
Yeah.
You got a talent for causing kids pain. People will pay you to be inhumane. It's just oh, he's an absolute monster.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Read the
Sadly,
manga.
the second thing that sadly the second thing I had to mention is Kevin, Yu Cal, the guy who founded Sakura Boru and Sakura Blog, has been on vague posting about the production circumstances of Uzumaki over on Blue Sky since, and from what he's been saying, it seems like the entire production was a flaming pile of shit, and
Wouldn't be
that the
surprised.
director that they outsourced to for episode 2 specifically where's his direct quote, because this is like mean. Where's the fucking... I believe he calls him like soulless. Kevin said that the first thing Kevin said is that like both episodes 1 and 2 have been outsourced to like overworked Korean studios because that's unfortunately just a common practice now in anime. And then the thing he said about episode 2 was, wouldn't it be funny if episode 2 of their current series was outsourced overseas too, and also their disastrous project's emergency button to get it finished was one of the most infamously uncaring, cynical directors in the industry? Just posting this to hypothetical to explain janky Junji Ito you may see. So, yeah. Sadly, it appears that the production circumstances have fucked up yet another Junji Ito adaptation.
Apparently he was like a collaborator on the PT, like Silent Hills game. Makes a lot of sense. That shit was harrowing. That's pretty cool. Anyway, Junji Ito is a fucking king. Uzumaki is a great comic. Go read it. If you feel like it, watch this. Episode 1 is great. 2 and 3 are serviceable, and 4 we'll see. Moving right along. Blue things.
There's a lot of blue.
There's a blue log and there's a blue box. And I think Jakers is the only one watching this.
All right, which one do you want me to start?
The lock. Football.
All right, that's good because it'll be a quick one because there's not necessarily too much to jump in on this. Where mostly it's just a continuation off on after the first season. I didn't go to see whatever it was episode Nagi in theaters, but at that point it is a glorified recap of the first season. So you get there was only a handful of new scenes added for contextualizing Nagi's relationship, but almost everything else was just recap of the first season. And I will admit, it is definitely the one that's probably on edge. I will I'll see how far I get into it this season, considering that I do feel like a bit of the magic is lost when a season of Blue Lock comes out and the World Cup is not to accompany it, and the Japanese representative team is not making one of the best underdog runs in World Cup history, which really did add to it back in
Oh
2022.
yeah, that's right. That was at the same time.
Like you
That was
can't
when
really
they
get
beat Germany to
circumstances
no.
to generate hype than
yeah.
that. I cannot think of better circumstances to generate hype than your country's team doing so well in the Soccer World Cup right after the soccer anime started airing.
Oh yeah, exactly. They were put into essentially a group of death. Like they were not expected to get out of their group in particular, considering that like Spain only two get out. Spain and Germany, both absolute powerhouses. Costa Rica is there, but odds are they were expecting Japan to finish fourth, get knocked completely and utterly dismissed, and they wouldn't have had the opportunity to continue on and move forward. They proceed to heavily upset Germany, and they just choke massively. They essentially can't even make it and go through towards the rest, and Japan is able to make it past the round of 32 and the round of 16, and it was like they were making a run for it. Or sorry, not the round of 8. They were knocked out in the round of 16, but it was just like it was insane to have that running with Blue Lock simultaneously, because that was definitely one that I would imagine was generating a lot of hype, especially related to a lot of the fans that were getting into it. Nowadays, whenever there is not something to attribute it to, I will admit, like you said before, it's kind of like, wow, you found the one frame inside of Blue Lock this season to go through and like really sell it, really give it a little bit of gravitas, because it doesn't really share as much of the energy in between the rest of it. Oh, nice one, Block. And the author had the opportunity to design the jersey. That is actually insane.
That's cool.
But yeah, I would say this purple blonde dude, I've seen clips and I've seen pieces that make him stand out in more ways than one, to varying degrees of success, like leading in towards the rest of it. I'm curious to see how this leads on to, and how the the under 20, I believe, is that they're going through and trying to face, bleeds into any of this.
World Cup or something.
Yeah. To kind of see how the rest of it goes. But I'm very I'll see how the next few episodes go by. It's either going to be, it gets exciting enough for me to continue on, like leading into it, or I'm going to put it on hold until 2026 when the World Cup comes to North America, which I am extremely excited about, because there's going to be a handful of the games coming into Vancouver, and this city is just going to light up. It's going to be so much fun.
Ah, shit, okay.
So yes, at the very least, it is not as poppy, so not as much else to say.
All right.
Yeah, I wish I had anything to contribute besides like obligatory American joke about how it's not football unless you pick up an oblong thing and run and give head trauma to people with it. But yeah, I hope that it looks better for the Blue Lock fans, and that's about it.
Blue box.
It's in the box.
This is
What's
a
in
manga
the box?
that I tried out and read for like, I don't know, 20, 30 chapters. And I was like, this is boring, actually. And I don't care about badminton or basketball. And then I just kind of stopped. It's like, it looked pretty, but it was just, who cares? And now the adaptation is out, and are people liking it?
I would say it's not starting off in the strongest points, because I do agree with you to the point where the beginning of this story it's very tropey, it's very built on convenience. It's like you were thrown back into like a 90s sports romance where it's kind of like, and now you have to live together.
That's
conveniently enough, our
Yes.
moms are friends, and
Right.
we're just going to have to bleed into this and kind of run through every romance trope in the book to kind of like see if there's anything that lands and
Yeah,
anything
there's like
that
it
sticks.
felt so tropey when I started. It's like a boy likes girl, and it's like, oh, but I don't deserve her. I have to do my best. I have to earn it. If I win this contest, then I'll confess and blah blah blah. And then they're made to live together. And then I just kind of stopped. It was like, oh god, more of this. It's slop, but not in a good way.
It did take me, like, it was definitely the first, like, dozen chapters or so. It was kind of like, okay, I've seen this setup, seen this triangle, I've seen the sports dramas and where it goes. I understand his best friend's going to be to try to be a wingman, and I understand that the rest of the crew is going to try and, because she's the ace, she's Miss Popular,
Right.
she is the shining star of the
What
school,
is-
she is the one
What is
that
her
has
name? It's like
all the eyes on her.
Chihiro. What's her name?
Chinatsu.
Chinatsu. It was Chi something.
But everybody just calls her Chi-chan,
Right.
as kind of like a nickname.
And she is very cute, and it is. I don't know if that's common. It's like I thought it was a fun role reversal thing that she's the one playing basketball, which in my mind is a more masculine sport. And he's the one playing badminton. I don't know if that was on purpose or if it's just different dynamics in Japan.
Yeah, they're definitely trying to cover all the bases towards the rest of it. It was considering that apparently their private school is very sports focused, as you awkwardly saw the camera go through the first episode where they've got rhythmic gymnastics, they've got basketball, they've got ping pong, they've got badminton. They're trying to cover all the bases at once, but at the very least because at the very least basketball and badminton aren't as well covered as many other sports. Although, to be fair, the last two badminton shows that I watched were still like very good on the badminton side of things, which was like there was the Salary Man,
Hanebado?
the Battery Man. Well, that was the second one. Yeah, Hanebado was a complete mess, but the badminton looked phenomenal. They actually did a really good job whenever those matches came
They
around.
did.
The rest of the relationships in that show was one of the
fucking
most
garbage fire.
awkward
Jesus
soap
Christ.
opera bullshit.
It's like, what do
It
you
was an
mean your mom
absolute
is your
mess.
sister? It's like everybody's related. It was so bad.
You lost one badminton match at the age of 9. I am going to leave
I'm
you
going
forever
to
until
kill you. I fucking hate you and I hope you die. Yeah, that
And
was
it's like, yeah, no, I know my daughter is now worthy of my love, so now I've returned to Japan to kind of see how her badminton training's been going on. It's
daughter
like,
kind of turns to the dark side. She's evil. It's like, why? Anyway,
yeah, fun stuff. But yeah, between that and Battery Man was the funner watch. Slam Dunk and Kuroko no Basket are definitely on opposite ends of the spectrum for how they like land with the basketball stuff. But I do think that Blue Box, it does everything well given in time. Which is definitely one of the awkward parts where it is a slow start, which never helps anything, especially when you're trying to get through either an anime adaptation or trying to get somebody into manga. Like, even like you said, like more than 20 chapters in, and it was still just like, what are we doing here? I do appreciate, same deal, broken record, the cast as it expands inside the show, like, definitely does a lot better to kind of peel away, because you essentially only get you only get Chinatsu and you only get mostly Taiki for that first episode, and feels very not tropey, but a little bit campy, especially just like the pouring your soul out to somebody where it's kind of like, no, I believe that you should stay and follow your dreams, and it's just it's a little bit awkward to like leading towards that. But at the very least, the cast around it, I know a lot of people are gonna like Hina. I never liked the third wheel in particular. It's definitely like just a personal thing towards the rest.
Yeah.
But what I do appreciate is that at the very least, this one's going to be getting 25 episodes. It's definitely one of those adaptations that's blessed with getting an extended one, because I don't think this would have the same deal. I think Don can last on its legs with 12 episodes. I definitely don't think that Blue Box would have been able to get in enough of the story to like keep people invested if they just held it on 12, moved it on to another 25. But I do think that as the cast expands, as he meets his senpai, as he meets more of the characters, as his relationship with Chinatsu at least matures and grows, because I will admit, sports guy, love the opportunity of seeing two athletes both support each other in their own ways, in their own careers, and in their own drives to try to be better. What was it? Baby Steps was also a great example of this. Probably the last like major shonen title relating to kind of like a heavily set down sports romance. But yeah, at the very least, leading into what it does start picking up a lot quicker than I would have expected by 2 and 3. And so I'm still excited to see where the rest of the adaptation goes, because it still looks gorgeous.
Okay, that's good. So you would recommend?
Yeah, I would say it's definitely not a show that's like great on like from the first episode. It's definitely one where week by week won't really give you too much. It'll definitely be a better one to binge as the season goes on, and considering it, we're going to have 25 weeks of this. But I do still think that at the end of the day, especially with how the manga's been going and what they're going to be able to accomplish in 25 episodes, yes, it is tropey. Yes, you've seen all of these things pop up in romance before, but I do think that it's always the execution that matters most, and they really like speed through where it's kind of like, okay, we're gonna get over misunderstandings, we're gonna get through like the basic tournaments, we're gonna get through all of these minor conflicts that would take several episodes or several chapters to just end towards the rest of it, and by the time that they find their full swing and they start like leading into how everybody's relationships across all the different characters in the show develops, as well as what they're able to accomplish on their own right inside of their own careers, it definitely starts to build, and it's definitely something that I still do appreciate reading week by week.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I don't have much to add.
Okay, then we'll move right along to something I'm watching, and I don't think any of you are. It's the second season of a little show called Shangri-La Frontier. It's a classic.
Bird Boy's back.
Bird Boy is back, and so are his menagerie of furry NPCs that he brings along everywhere, which I think has gotten out of hand. I'm very happy by the end of episode 1 that his two human friends are joining again, because I'm a little tired of all these rabbits and cats.
I do
correct
not
me
need
if I'm
mascots,
wrong, but
I need people.
Isn't Birdman's entire thing that he's basically the CEO of shitty games?
He loves playing and beating terrible games. So that's how we see him in season 1. And then he's like, I've heard about this quote unquote god game, Shangri-La Frontier. And then he's like, maybe I should try good games for once. And he does. And he, of course, loves it because it's amazing. It's like this, it's like, what's it called? The isekai everybody loves to hate.
SAO,
SAO.
the
SNO,
MMO, RPGs,
VR,
yeah.
MMO kind of thing, like fully immersive thing. So it's not like he's not getting trapped in there. Like we see him log on and off, and he talks to people in real life too. Like the whole real life angle can kind of go in the bin. It doesn't really matter. But the reason he looks the way he does is because he's very early on. He encounters like a random encounter end level boss who's like a wolf, and if you get bitten and killed by the wolf, you get a curse. He gets these markings all over his body, and he's unable to equip armor. So he's running around in basically his underwear and like novelty hats. That's all he has. So he can wear this bird mask, and he can wear like a ghost outfit kind of thing, but he can't put on armor. And because of the way he is, he makes like this dual-wielding dagger, glass cannon build. He has basically no HP, but he gets around it by being just an incredible gamer with all the stuff he's learned from shit games and how to exploit it. And all of season 1 kind of builds up to them taking out like this. The scale of this game is the most unrealistic thing I've ever heard. It's like basically planet-sized. There's continents, and in the world there's like world bosses. One is called, I think it's a Weathermon, the Tomb Guardian. It's like this samurai robot looking thing that is just unbeatable. And there's like clans who, because you get XP just by encountering him and losing, so people just like cheese the game by doing that or whatever. So one of those people pick up Sunraku is like the main guy, and whatever the blonde guy is called, I forget. Doesn't matter. They put together a 3-man team to take down the Guardian, and they somehow do. And they become legends because it's the first time anyone has ever defeated one of these world bosses, and that progresses the story of the game. Like the world storyline is like locked behind people killing these things, and no one has ever done it. No one was even really trying because you could just like grind them for XP. And there's like whole clans of people building the lore behind them, trying to discover it. So there's this whole huge fucking world building thing, and main boy, Bird Boy, keeps unlocking all these unique encounters. Like he has access to this city of bunny NPCs, like this whole world no one else can access. Who keeps him like training and craft special weapons. And his current quest is to the brown rabbit in the picture. I forget the name. It's like B something.
Belak?
Belak is a blacksmith, but not a high enough ranking level blacksmith to restore some like divinity level gear. So he is on a quest to uplift her, like level her up to ancient craftsman or whatever it's called, ancient blacksmith. So that's the current thing. And so he's exploring parts of this map there where no one's ever been, and he's got all these little furry compatriots along with him who I'm a little sick of it. I love the white bunny. Emuru is pretty great. Like as far as mascot, marketable plushie-ish like sidekicks go, she's one of the more bearable ones. And she's useful.
Okay,
She can do magic. Like the voice is a little much at times, but honestly, she could be way worse. The cat is fucking annoying, and Tomboy Brown Rabbit is also okay, but I'm not expecting them to stick around very long. And I mean, it's just it's gamer slop, but the combat is very well animated. The comedy is pretty good most of the time. There's a lot of weird characters in it. One that I can't really find myself to care about, is the real life girl who has a crush on main guy in real life. In the game, she is like this legendary player character known as like the Night Killer or something, I forget. This huge lumbering tower of armor, like Hegel in the first Dark Souls. Just this figure of legend who barely ever speaks and is very respected. And like she could just talk to him, like talk to him in the game. She knows it's him, and she's trying to get on his good side. He doesn't realize it's her, but they don't really interact a whole lot. She gets summoned a couple of times to help, basically, but she's not very proactive in the whole thing, and it makes it very hard to care about that plot line. There's a lot going on, and now his two real life buddies who he beat the World Guardian with have tracked him to this place wherever he is grinding gear, and their intent is to player kill him. Like, he's gotten too big for his britches. They're just there to fuck with him. They're gonna kill him for no reason at all.
Can't let our man get too big.
Yeah, it's like he's out exploring. He's living his best life. He's leveling up his bunny friends. So we gotta kill him. So that's gonna be great. Finally some betrayal. So yeah.
It ain't an MMO without some PK.
Right. So if you like stuff like this, like a gamer isekai, kind of slop, kind of actually pretty good, then you could do way worse than Shangri-La. It's pretty nice.
Oh geez, I'm just noticing on the Tokusatsu belt, it's laying on a frame of the Gamer Driver. That is, it's his belt has everything, truly.
Yeah. I did not intend for that to be. I did not intend the synergy when I posted Mr. Xade there, but I'm glad that he also became relevant to our discussion of Shangri-La.
Right. Anyway, it's okay. I like it, but I also like Danmachi, which we will get to later. So it doesn't really matter. Anyway,
Mm.
Mecha Ude. Yude. What is this?
Mecha Ude Mechanical Arms is an original anime TV show airing right now. The setup is not the most like original thing in the world. It's basically boy meets something, and the something here is this sentient mechanical life form. It's an arm. He's called Alma,
Nice.
and basically he somehow escaped the big evil corporation that's holding him for, excuse me, unspecified reasons right now. And we learned that the big evil corporation, the Kagami Group, has been basically making the Alma and his kind into slaves. Alma and his kind are the titular Mecha Udes. They're mechanical arms that can attach to a human body and fight with them. And basically the premise is our little hero here, Hikaru, hears Alma asking for him to help in like dormant cube form. He awakens Alma, and he is now being chased and attacked by the Kagami Group's private security forces. So he eventually gets rescued and joins up with ARMS, who is basically a Mecha Ude independence resistance group. Or more like Mecha Ude abolition resistance group. It's not so much they want to get a nation as much as they want people to stop owning Mecha Ude. So that's the basic premise of the story, and the animation and the characters are fun, and it's executed well. But what's more fascinating is actually the production history behind this. So Mecha Ude is a started as a crowdfunded Kickstarter project.
Ooh.
In 2016.
I'd love
They
to
hit
hear
the
it.
goal. Yeah, they hit the goal, and this is thankfully not one of those Kickstarters that just kind of falls flat on its face. There was a one episode OVA of this that was produced, and of all people, aired on YouTuber, travel vlogger, and name I hadn't heard for fucking 10 years, Raina Scully's channel.
Ooh.
If anyone remembers her.
Yeah. I fucking love
Yeah,
Rain Scully.
that's the thing. Like, I remember liking Raina Scully when I was like younger, but I haven't heard her name in like a fucking eon.
She was in.
I was like, is she doing okay?
Oh my
I checked her out.
God.
She's still active. So that was already pretty neat. And then it turns out that this gathered enough interest to first get a fucking manga adaptation, which came out before the anime in 2022. And now there's a proper TV show being produced of it. And I think that's just cool. Regardless of...
Did Raina Scully voice Aki character?
In the one episode OVA that was uploaded to her channel, Raina Scully herself voiced one of the characters, Aki Murasame.
Nice.
Which is also very cool. And the thing that I wanted to highlight was just this like really cool like production history of this thing that went from a Kickstarter passion project to getting a fucking manga adaptation to now getting its at least like 12 episode TV show, and that's just fun. Even without the actual like competent and fun execution of the show, this would have already been really fun to follow. Just like It's almost like a fucking Okay, I
It's
forgive me.
very
I do not know
Trigger-esque,
sports wrong.
or
It
what
is.
sports?
I don't know sports analogies very well, but it's almost like you get like a group of kids who plays like some amateur soccer or something together when they're like in elementary school, and they all decide, hey, let's try to go pro. And you like, and then they try to break in and they stumble a bit, but they manage to succeed. And now somehow all of those kids have come back, and now they're like a semi decent professional team. Even if they don't do all that well, or not, like maybe they won't win like the championship or anything, maybe they won't do all that well, but it's already cool to see this group of like unlikely comrades make it to the level that they're at, and that's like the general feeling I have towards Mecha Uday.
Yeah, because it was something that I never really, where it always seemed familiar. Where it's like, why does this seem towards the rest of it? It's like, oh right, it was a ONA that I watched back in 2018 that I hadn't seen towards the rest. And what was her name? Like the Hisao Okamoto, she was the director for all that stuff, and she was able to build that up, make her like fund and essentially like create her own studio, Triff Studios, who've mostly been helping with like small ONAs and music videos at the time. But with that small team that she's got, the one that she helped use to create the ONA back in 2018, to then like do side projects and then build up the amount of time and people necessary to make that passion project a reality, it's been like great seeing how far they've come over just the span of 6 years.
Yeah, it's always fun to see a scrappy underdog get the shot that they deserve. Um, the actual show is also fun. I haven't seen too many Trigger works, so I don't know if I can like confidently describe it as like Trigger-esque. What I will say is that there are some like the animation quirks seem pretty similar. There's a lot of expressiveness. The character designs are relatively simple, so they can smear and blur more easily.
Nice.
Excuse me. And it was just a really good breezy watch. Plot's not too much special right now, but I've only really seen 2 episodes. Number 3 I need to catch up on, and apparently number 3 is going to cover stuff from the original ONA, so that's going to be fun to look forward to. But yeah, if you have the time for a fun little uh like
Dynamic,
kind
like
of
really
battle
good back and forth
shonen.
banter. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like a fun little like battle shonen mecha thing with fun banter and some uh one insane is too strong a word. More like wonderfully quirky cast to bounce off each other. This could turn out to be fun.
Right. Nice.
Anyways, Panic, I must now ask you the question. After 5 seasons, have we answered the question of is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon?
I think we're getting closer.
I see.
In this season, Bell is taught how to pick up girls. He's taught how to do
Yo!
It's finally happening.
It's finally happening, and he's super good at it for some reason.
Happened.
It's like he's never put in, I guess, just never put in the proper effort. He needed a push from an elf. So basically, this season, the fertility goddess arc, I guess it's called, because as we all know, the series takes place in a big like metropolis city where all the gods have descended from heaven to like inhabit it from all different kinds of mythologies. So like Norse, Greek, whatever, Indian, Hindu gods. It's everybody's there. So once a year, all the different goddesses that represent like fertility of both, of both like farming and of body. So like Freya, for instance, are put in big towers and like worshipped. So that's what's happening now in this series. It hasn't really focused on that yet, but it has started that whole festival thing. And for that, one of the original Bell fans named Sear, SYR, um, has invited him on a date, and it turns out to be a much bigger to do than you'd think. Apparently, she has like really close ties with goddess Freya and the Freya Familia, so there's like bodyguards and people watching her, and everybody is very invested in this being the perfect date, and that's why this one elf takes it on, puts it on himself to train Belle to become like a perfect gentleman and like properly respond to everything women say and do. He's like taught the like very Andrew Tate ish, very like matter of fact. When women say this, they mean this, blah blah blah, and it's like he's taught pickup artistry in a way, but he's
I'm
also
gonna be you. That sounds like horse shit.
but deep down he is also still Belle, so like it's all meant well. He's not an asshole, right? He is this
Yeah.
kind boy who everybody loves. Um so yeah, like we see this whole montage of him just being like suave, like wooing women for no reason other than like it's a test by this elf man, and he's very good at it. Um, so like currently in 3 episodes in, all that's happened is training for the date, taking her on a date, and then like because she is apparently this position of like this authority figure within the familia, and she knows everybody's following her and watching over her. Like part of her date, she kind of demands that like he, well, not abduct her, whisk her away in a sense, right? Like that they run away together just for like an evening. Take her away from all these
Elope?
people. Yeah, elope. Yeah, right. That's the word. Like get away from all this choking atmosphere and people watching and blah blah blah. And they do that, and they get chased down. And of course, every other girl in this series is tailing them because they're like, "Why is he on a date with her? We have to know what's happening," and blah blah blah. The best girl elf Ryu has become very aware that she's in love with him after the events of the last season, which was great. Like this show is just it's stupid fun. I like it. And after 5 seasons, it's too late to bag out. It's very much sunk cost fallacy. I still maintain that the first season is like actually pretty great. Like that Minotaur fight at the end is like iconic at this point. It's fucking awesome. And season 2 and 3 were kind of like whatever burgers, and then 4 was good, and this I don't know what this is yet. It's a fun series. I enjoy it. The girls are cute. Hestia sucks. She's just bad.
Yeah.
Has the
Oh.
string kept around, or
Yeah, of course,
has
of course,
that
of
been
course.
long gone?
She looks sluttier than ever. I can
Okay.
put a screenshot up. Let me see.
Yeah, I was about to say
be
you
more
are.
generous. Yeah. To be a little bit more generous, from what I can
There she
recall of
is.
Danmachi, like Bell at least has Riz. He's like at
Bell
least
has
an
like
interesting
he
person to
doesn't
talk to.
he doesn't mean
He-
to
he-
have
he's
Riz,
not-
but he does.
Yeah, like he's not like the anime protagonist equivalent of like biting into cardboard and you realize this tastes like cardboard, but then you look at everyone else and then for some fucking reason they're scarfing down the cardboard like it's pizza.
Everybody loves him. There's something about him. I
Some-
don't know what.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was that?
Yeah,
Clip somebody.
the fucking string is still there.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's her outfit. The gods dress how they do, and she keeps like. That's the fun thing about Hestia is her working like menial jobs because she's always in debt, much like Aqua, except she's not like a bum. Like she's in debt because she made that insane dagger for him in season 1, and she's still trying to pay that off.
Oh yeah, it is crazy how specific characters pop off in those years. The the fucking ribbon was everywhere
Oh,
in
yes.
2015.
I mean,
the
it's
Rem outfit was
fucking
everywhere in
genius.
2016, and it still continues to go on. Like
to be
the
fair,
end
the
of time.
Rem outfit is just a maid's dress.
It's easier, yeah.
Maids have always been popular.
Yeah.
I still think
It's more.
I maintain
yeah,
that
it's an older appeal. Meanwhile, the string is like this like makes no practical sense, but for some reason has like activated the neurons of millions of people.
oh, best girl over you.
9 years later, and I am still in the dark.
Right. I still maintain that Hephaestus is the prettiest woman in the show. Woman in shirt. That is her.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
That's just the woman in a shirt.
in-
Yeah,
Woman in shirt in drawer. Coronel panic here.
that's right.
Butter on bread.
But she's also like an eye patch and like long gloves, and she's a blacksmith and redhead. She's just perfect. She's an incredible character design. And honestly,
I'm
woman
sorry,
in
but the way
shirt
you
is great.
I'm very sorry, but the way that Jager's calling your woman in shirt thing buttered bread, and then you describing all of that just reminds me of like the Denji toast from Chainsaw Man.
Oh,
He puts every single
You're
kind
telling
of
me I
fucking
can
condiment
put
on a
jam
piece of toast.
and nuts
just put
and
everything
peanut butter
in
and
and honey
honey
and hot
and-
sauce? Holy shit!
You
eat like this
sounded
every
that's
day?
what you were like. You sounded like that. You were like, and she's a blacksmith, and she has an eye patch, and she's a redhead.
It's like all the best things. And to top it all off, she wears a shirt, an open, kind of disheveled white office dress shirt. That is peak character design. Ragnara does the same thing, and it's the best fit. It looks great.
Woman in shirt enjoyer, yeah.
Listen, I don't think
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to be greedy. Woman in shirt is great. You can't,
See, like I'm shitting. I'm like playfully shitting on you, but like I get what you mean.
Right.
Like woman in shirt is a very good look. It's just kind of funny because going back to the buttered bread analogy, like just saying I like buttered bread
I
doesn't
also like
sound
buttered bread.
all that
Exactly. It's like butter on
special.
toast. It still works.
Yeah, and like it's one of those things where you just go like, oh, this tastes, but then you like actually start eating it and you go remember, oh wait, no, this actually tastes good.
Yeah.
It's not just a thing that's there all the time. It does actually taste good. It's basic, but it tastes good.
Yeah, I wasn't talking about cold bread on a dry
Yeah,
white
no.
piece of sin. You get to toast that. You get to add some
You get
spice.
to
You get
toast
to add
that.
some
You're-
salt towards the rest
yeah,
of
at
it. She's
the
a
very
blacksmith. Of
least,
course,
you-
you get to
yeah.
toast it.
Yeah, good one. Yeah, but yeah, Danmachi seems to still be around for those who enjoy.
It's never going away.
the,
Never going
Never.
away.
all the ye olden early 2010 / late aughts harem comedies.
Rick and Morty. Morty and Rick. 100 years. It's never
Oh,
ending.
20 more seasons, Bell. We're gonna be
20 more
bringing
seasons,
this all
Bell.
the way until we're 90.
I'm
20 more
sorry,
ribbons.
Bell. We're gonna need to have your balls turn even bluer.
Till you're
They're already
90.
They're already blue. The Caribbean Sea. I know.
They're
we need to
already
make them
blue.
bluer.
Ah, jeez, Rick. Bell really would be a good Morty. I don't know who the Rick would be. Probably Hestia.
Christ,
Bell,
now
we're
somebody's
going
just
to
gonna
the-
make that their mission.
We're going to the festival, Bell.
Let's please move on from this before that cursed image burrows.
You know
further into my
what else
freaking-
is
oh,
never
God.
what else is never going away is Dragon Ball. Rest in peace, Toriyama. You're a fucking legend.
Rest in peace, Mr. Toriyama. You were indeed a legend, and I believe may you continue to draw goof adventures and have fun wherever you are.
Yeah.
You know a man's death was impactful when multiple countries go into mourning because of their
I
passing.
mean, basically all of South
Yeah.
America, right?
It is insane.
I
the
mean, like
impact
that-
this man had on the industry.
I mean, like people joke about that, but that's not. I would guess that's not that too much far removed from the reality. Like,
No.
as much as we meme about it, Latin America really, really, really does love Dragon Ball to the point where, like,
Twice
I
they
distinctly
blacked
remember-
out Crunchyroll from Dragon Ball Super episodes.
yeah, and like one thing that I remember is that the composer for Dragon Ball Super Broly actually visited Latin America, and like the chanting songs in the OST for Broly were based off like the Latin American fans getting so hyped up whenever they saw like I think it was Goku versus Jiren. They were like cheering like it was a sports team, and he was like,
Yeah,
"Oh
yeah.
shit, I want to bring some of that energy."
I
So, yeah.
remember like Goku versus Jiren. It was like a pay-per-view thing in Mexico. Like they had events where you and they
They
bust.
had
It was
posters
like
and everything.
WrestleMania. It was like
Yeah.
WrestleMania, except far bigger than
They
WrestleMania could ever
they
hope to be.
broke the fucking internet twice. It's like
I know they went to Toho, or what was it? Not Toho. Toei, and they're like, "Look, we will pay you so we can publicly broadcast and like distribute and put up on large screens across the country for these fights at the end of
Right.
Dragon Ball Super. We want as many people to be involved with this event as humanly possible." And it just
that's such
they
a
were like,
vibe.
"Nah, I'm
And
sorry,
I
we can't
agree.
write off on it."
Goku
Okay,
is
we're
the
just gonna do
shit.
it anyways.
You got like a fucking Lucha Libre announcer there going like, "Following Lucha is set for one fall with a 60-minute time limit.
I think
Approaching a ring now from Universe 7.
I think the only
Waiting
other
for the
time anime has done
238
that
out."
was One Piece when Gear 5 was like that the fight with whatever his name is. What's his name? Big Dragon
Kaido.
Man?
Yeah.
Kaido.
I think
Kaido, yeah.
Yeah. That episode
Kaido,
where he
yeah.
turns Gear 5, like that also blacked out some stuff. Broke
Yeah.
Crunchyroll. Dude,
Yeah.
Yeah, 2023 was definitely the year of One Piece like regaining it and just being the biggest shonen once again. Like it's they took
Regaining the
their
sauce,
I
yes.
don't, I
like,
don't
they
know
got-
what the
Regaining the
fuck
sauce.
happened. It's like the animation in One Piece just popped off. Anyway,
Someone
Yeah.
did like a breakdown of it. They basically changed production companies.
right.
And they basically decided to hire a bunch of fucking talented people from all over the globe. They've got people from France. They've got people living in the U.S. They just like go like, "Hey, you want to work on a cut of One Piece?" And they go, "Do I?"
Yes.
That's what you want on your resume. It's like, dude, I had a cut in One Piece. Like, I can't get any higher than that.
right.
Yeah, and it's like it's this idea of okay. Again, I'm not Kevin. I'm not Sakuga blog man, so I don't know if this is exactly right. But it seems almost like the idea is we're just gonna run talent through the One Piece episodes in like cycles.
Right.
We're gonna get some batches of guys on this episode, some batches of guys on that episode, and so on. And the result is that the pacing is still not great, but it seems like the actual visuals of One Piece now look far better than they used to.
They really wanted the Wano arc to be successful. They still had the pacing issues,
Yeah.
but when those fights hit and those specific moments, they had that. I think they had one specific team that they had been building for years. Specifically, Tackle, it was like the episode was like 1040 something, but it was specifically adapting the 1000th chapter of One Piece, and that's the one that went viral,
Yeah.
and that's the one that just put it on the rails and started the hype train going to a degree that nobody would have assumed possible. And seeing how
Yeah.
Wano was adapted towards the rest of it, seeing how surprisingly successful the One Piece live action was, and how well it was received, the announcements for more One Piece films, as well as a retelling going to being adapted by Studio Wit, which is also going to be insane. It's just all of those announcements and projects and pieces of that world really like came together and made, and once again, One Piece was made a Goliath.
Anyway, we're not here to talk about One Piece.
No, we are
Let's
not.
go back to the
We
Dragon
are
Balls.
We're here to talk
we
about
are here to
balls.
talk about another fun whimsical.
This is pretty great so far. Dragon Ball Daima, and I think Daima is what they call the demon realm. So, do you remember at the end of DBZ, the Supreme Lord of Hell, Demon King Dabura, was just there? Like
Yeah,
big
he
tall
was.
pink guy with pointy ears and the Majin logo in his forehead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He fucking died. He got turned into a cookie and eaten by Boo. The place he's from is called the Demon Realm, and now there's a new king called Goma. And like the entire first 10 minutes, the first episode is 30 minutes because the first 10 minutes of that is like them. It's kind of a recap of DBZ.
Recapping most of DBZ.
They recap
towards
like
the rest of it.
the latter, like 25% of DBZ, watching it on like this magical screen, and it's Goma and his buddy, who is the brother of Supreme Kai. They look at everything that happened and they're like, holy shit, these people are so fucking strong. Oh, Dabura died. I guess you're king now. Okay, sick. Okay. So what do we do? Like, am I safe to ascend the throne? Okay, Boo died. All these people died. There's no threats left. Except all the DBZ fighters who defeated Boo. What if they come here and fuck me up? So anyway, they go to their normal... Hell has... Well, the Demon Realm has Dragon Balls too, but they have safeguarded them too well, so they all have Guardians, which I am hoping becomes relevant later. Probably they have to defeat
Odds are
them.
that's going to be like something that they have to fight. Yeah.
There's like 3, but they're big, and they all 3 of them have like these extremely powerful Guardians. So they can't use them to just wish them dead. So the other option is that they find out that the human realm has Dragon Balls. There's 7, and you get 3 wishes, and blah, blah, blah. So they go to human world and gather all 7, reactivate them, because it hasn't been very long since they were used. And they can't wish for them to die, because that's apparently a rule, is that because the human Shenron is...
He's got a handful of rules, like unspoken rules under the belt, where it's kind of like, look.
But the reason they can't just wish for people to die is because he's like light magic. The ones in Demon Realm is black magic, so you can wish evil wishes. In the human one, you can only wish like harmless, quote unquote, wishes. Like you have to be really creative if you want to hurt people with them. Mostly, we only ever see them being used to wish people back to life.
Seems like it's the difference between like with the evil Dragon Balls who can wish someone to get a heart attack and die, and with the not evil Dragon Balls you can wish for somebody to be teleported above an active volcano.
You could probably do that, but what they do instead is just they wish for everybody to be turned into children, grade schoolers, and for those who are already children, they wish for them to become babies. So the entire DBZ cast are now toddlers. And they have
kind of like GT, except now we got the whole cast involved in the shenanigans.
I never watched
Everyone's
GT,
a child now.
and GT got like retconned, didn't it? Like it never happened.
Kinda, yeah, because I think the planet blew up. So, like, you gotta really find some way to wipe that.
Yeah,
Right.
GT doesn't really seem to be like counted as like quote unquote officially
Right.
canon anymore, and
Yeah,
Yeah.
so Daima is like a thing that happens between DBZ and Super. I believe it's like in the official timeline. So yeah, they're on
So
a
a
quest
lot less
to,
Dragon Ball Super, a lot more classic Dragon Ball with
They're on a
lot
quest
of the
to
cast.
go to the Demon Realm to find to find the guy who did it and probably use their Dragon Balls, I would assume. The whole Demon Realm thing is extremely Dragon Quest, down to like there's this, I think Goma is it Goma's sister or just like there's like this
Yeah, the
this
sister who's the scientist. Or
the real
yeah.
baddie, like the baddie of the fucking year. She's so good. Is I forget what her name is,
Da, 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 da.
but she's extremely Dragon Quest looking. And so is Goma and basically everything in the Demon Realm. But yeah, she's fucking awesome. I can't wait to see more of her. Yeah, I mean it's just it reminds me of like early Dragon Ball, of course because they were kids, right? But also just it's goofier. It's like they can't use all their crazy powers. They have trouble flying. In the latest episode, Goku went and got his the extender pole, whatever stick he has.
Called the power pole in the English
Power
translation.
pole?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
His staff, because he can no longer, because of his now short arms and legs, he can't really gauge how far to kick to hit people. So he
My
either,
reach is absolute dog water.
Yeah,
Oh
he-
wait, I've got something that can fix that.
he
I
overshoots or
have a
undershoots all the time. So instead, he just went and got his iconic stick, and I think he might even get the cloud, the Nimbus.
Nimbus.
It's like all this early on stuff he had that was iconic in its own way all got replaced by these fucking Superman teleport laser beam powers. And this is like a return to form. It's a lot more like down to earth feeling. And I enjoy that.
A lot more whimsical, yeah.
It's a lot more whimsical. You get to see Vegeta as a grumpy little shit. It's fucking great. Apparently
I considered that. Oh,
there's the two Supreme. There's the Supreme Kai and the Supreme Kai's like attendant, whatever his name is. Who
I think
They're
it's
both small
Kibito.
boys.
they were all both returned to like grade school level, but his grade school level just looks old still. It's like he's like
He's lived too fucking long.
he just looks old and angry all the time. He's just smaller than he was. Yeah. I'm looking forward to this. I'm enjoying it a lot. It feels very
I'm looking
whimsical.
at the fucking baby Vegeta, and it's just like, wow, that is the most.
Yep,
That's
don't
the
worry,
most
even as a toddler,
grumpy
he's still
old
having a
man.
receding hairline.
Yeah. And there's like young
Okay, yeah, that.
young Master Roshi. Krillin is only slightly shorter than he was before, which everybody makes fun of.
Don't do my man like that. It's like, oh, you
we
didn't
all-
change too much.
We
It's
all
like,
grew
come on,
small,
man.
and everybody's like, "You were already small."
Sadly, that is true. Like, Krillin does not grow much taller. He's just small.
What is your wish? I wish to be cool. You're a loving father and a loyal friend. You're already cool, Krillin.
He is the
That
secret
is true.
key man.
He did. Yeah, he did in fact bag the best hottie in the entire series. And no,
the
do not
baddest
fucking
bitch.
at me.
Hmm
I immediately had the
Android
thought of
18.
how does
Excellent
de-aging
taste.
how does de-aging an android work?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. Maybe we'll get
Was
to it,
she
but yeah,
human at some point and got turned into?
I mean, yeah,
Was,
yeah,
yes.
but
well then,
yeah,
sure.
both her and 17 were humans at one point. They just got kidnapped by
But wouldn't
Dr.
that be?
Giro.
But wouldn't that be an android? No, a cyborg. I mean,
Yeah, it is. The English dub slash like English translation just calls them androids for some reason.
right.
That
was also the
That's just the
question
title
that
when
they're sticking with it.
when she had a kid and
Yeah.
everybody's like, "You're a fucking robot. How did you how'd you have a baby?" By the power of love.
Yeah, no, she apparently still has a uterus biologically, but yeah.
That is just how potent Krillin is.
That he's just that much of a badass. Although to be fair, most of my DBZ knowledge mostly comes from Dragon Ball Z Abridged, and that's essentially it. Where they were going through, it's like, how are they
Jokes
still in?
aside, like Krillin, if you take out all the fucking insanely superpowered aliens, he's still one of the like most.
He's the strongest
The best
human on
warriors
Earth.
on Earth.
He is
yeah,
the
he has a
strongest
case
human.
to be the strongest human on Earth. It's either him or Tien.
And Tien has been missing in action since fucking
sadly, Tien
Vegeta.
got jobbed up like a fucking goober at the tournament.
Oh,
of
he
Power.
did like he pushed Cell into the ground and then he just fucking died, and I don't think we've seen him since.
Fuck power levels. Fuck Super Saiyans and fuck you.
Tien is pretty
Or
cool.
from
Yeah,
or
DBZ
from
I
the
always-
DBCA Kai
Whoa.
episode.
I thought it was very cool that like Krillin has the Destructo disc, whatever, like the most powerful move ever invented.
And
Like
he just
even
never uses it to 1-2 punch somebody because Toriyama realized that the story wouldn't be fun if
even
he
at
did that.
Krillin's comparatively bullshit power level, that thing could cut through like power up ape Vegeta. It's like that thing is so extremely OP.
That thing is the pizza buzzsaw of death.
And I don't
Yeah,
understand why people aren't just using it all the time. They always do that like quick fire key blast that never does anything. Why not just shoot 5 Destructo discs?
Hey
and
man,
see what
look,
happens.
it's like wrestling. Even though you know that the first couple big moves aren't gonna work, you still go along with it.
They gotta
Like,
bring
yeah,
out
I know that the chops aren't gonna like
right.
commit. I know the chops to the chest aren't gonna wreck someone so bad that you can pin them their shoulders to the mat immediately. But it's still fun, and it is hurting
Yeah.
sometimes,
And
maybe.
they will get the camel clutch at some point.
You will hear that clap off their off their echo. That's just fucking backwards.
You will
Everything
you
there.
will
You will
hear the
hear it.
fuck.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
You will hear the
There's
echo
one guy.
across the stadium.
Yeah, there's one guy who used to go by Walter. He's going by Gunta now. Who's a pro wrestler, and like his fucking chops to the chest sound like artillery cannons. It's actually kind of horrifying.
You will have an
Uh,
indent after that match.
you will have an indent on your chest, and your chest will be a viable fucking like fingerprint source for the other guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I have an interesting little connection to Dragon Ball in that I'm Chinese American, so I was raised with Journey to the West before I ever looked at Dragon Ball, and I gotta say, one guy trying to get around all these like horrifyingly powerful destructive deities and like powerful people by trying to turn them all into kids sounds like the exact kind of zany shit
Right.
that was in Journey to the West when I read it as a kid, and I just think that's neat.
It's so in spirit of early Dragon Ball. It's like exactly what someone like Prince Pilaf or whatever he's called would do.
Yeah, Pilaf.
It's like all these forgotten early villains.
Mm.
God, fucking, I should go back and read it. I think
A lot of quirky,
I'm
cunning little
forgetting.
shits.
I think there was like an interview. There was like a conversation between Oda and Toriyama, where I think it was Oda, whoever it was, the one who isn't Toriyama, commented on the way he had drawn the Red Ribbon Army, like that one girl who's in the army, the team, the way he had drawn her armpit. He like really
Oh,
complimented that. I was like, damn, I gotta go find that. What's so special? How good
The
could it
Red
possibly
Ribbon Army,
be?
god damn.
Like, I remember her being a baddie. It's like crushing on her when I was like 12 reading it. Is yeah. Should go back and check it out.
Yeah. Yeah, I am glad that people who want more early Dragon Ball is finally getting some of their fix there.
It just seems like
The
stupid
the
fun.
the giant the giant fucking like WWE matches but with lasers, the lasers style of DBZ.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
is definitely
see,
something,
I
and
don't
it's
see,
fun.
I don't see Daima breaking the internet the way Super did, and I don't think that's the point. It's just like a return to
Yeah, it's just, hey, let's go on another adventure. And you know what?
yeah.
Toriyama started his career by writing comedy, and Dragon Ball was originally conceived as just a spoof of Journey to the West. The guy loved simple, fun, charming adventures, and I think it's fitting that, albeit this is sad and this was his last ever Dragon Ball project, I think it's fitting that the project was
Oh,
a fun adventure and whimsical adventure in the vein of the original Dragon Ball.
did he get to be involved with it? That's nice.
Oh yeah, it
I
was.
believe,
Yeah, it was
great.
his
yeah,
last
it was announced
major
before his death.
production.
Oh, that makes me so
Yeah.
happy.
Starting
Yeah.
where it or ending where it all began.
Right. That's great.
Yeah.
Love that for him. Love him. God, what a king.
Yeah.
Absolute legend.
Yeah. May he rest well wherever he is.
Wouldn't it be great if
Um,
we got like an anime adaptation of Chrono Trigger? I can dream. That would be fucking awesome.
Hey, keep dreaming, man. I come from the Fate fandom and the Nasuverse fandom, and one of our most consistent memes, one that is nearly as old as I've been fucking alive, was that the Tsukihime remake would never happen. And it took over 10 or by some reckoning 20 years, but it has finally happened, so anything is
I
possible.
mean, they did just make Sandland for some reason. So why not
Oh yeah,
go back
Sandland.
and grab some of the earlier stuff? I don't know how much. I don't think he actually wrote on Chrono Trigger. He just did the art, and it was fucking incredible.
So memorable, though.
Anyway, a favorite game, best game, soundtrack, 10 out of 10. Anyway, moving on. Bargain bin time, the leftovers. Quick rapid fire, smaller things, and then we'll round off. Who's watching any of this shit? Bleach? Anything?
My bad. My bad.
Anything to say about
I
Bleach?
It is still Bleach. It is still running. It is still going through one of the final arcs. It is still very much an Uno reverse, where it is a Uno deck that is only filled with Uno reverse cards. That's always how I've really thought about a lot of Bleach's fights.
It's Jujutsu Kaisen then.
a little bit, yeah.
Kelvin
my
Ball,
relationship with
where we
Bleach,
just change
yeah.
the rules after every attack.
Oh yeah, exactly. You get to swing. Nope.
To
now it's-
amend this, Sukuna underwent another binding vow.
Yep.
Little did you know, I made another binding vow.
Now it just continues to go on and on. I do like the aesthetic. I like the style. I'm curious to see where it goes. My relationship with Bleach is that I didn't really go anywhere beyond the major arcs, where essentially I had the opportunity to watch all of Soul Society. I had to figure out where to go towards the rest of it, especially since at the time it was still over 300 episodes. And I did get to watch all the way to the previous anime's conclusion back when 2013, 2014. And it was still fine. It was still like an easy way to get into shonen. But then now I would imagine the people who have actually read it, who are actually excited, who have been waiting for this kind of arc to happen for, which I think the previous season was back last year, so 2013, so nearly 10 years for that to be adapted. I would imagine there was a lot of excitement that I saw.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, the original anime ended in 2014, and the Thousand Year Blood War started airing in 2022.
So
Yeah,
they've been running it, yeah.
Yeah, I cannot say, like I said, I'm not watching it, but I will say that, man, when I heard that remix of Number One, I pogged so hard. It thrust me back to when I was watching Bleach as a child, and it's like seeing a friend that you kind of drifted apart from just show back up again and they're doing well, and you can't really say you know them anymore, but you're still hyped going like, yo, he's doing well, yeah, that's my buddy!
That's my boy.
Yeah. Because, yeah, it's been working out pretty well. It does, like I said before, there's a lot of characters, a lot of fights. That's mostly what Bleach has been going for. They've been doing well with the style. They've been doing well with the adaptations and the expansions on most of their other works. The only reason why I was concerned back in the first season, where it kind of felt like they, blew their load a bit too early, because they had, number one, they had Getsuga Tensho, they had the entire main quad settle up and do their whole shtick, which, to be fair, brought everybody back in. It's like they never left. But thankfully, I was pleasantly surprised that they still had more room and more crazy shit to adapt and more wackier powers to introduce towards how they could continue to evolve everybody else's piece to at least still keep it entertaining and still keep it like more dynamic and action-packed towards the rest of it. Because even after all this time, there are still many named characters that still have not even used their bunkai. And so they still have all those cards. I'm glad to see that it's been slowly and steadily creeping in.
Yeah, it is still insane that even this far into the manga, there's so many Bankai that have yet to be revealed, and that's still, somebody noted before that that's still one of the most hype anime things you can say. It's domain expansion does come close, but you can still say Bankai to any shonen fan, and it will do something to their inner 12-year-old. They may not entirely acknowledge it, but it stirs the memories of you being a 12-year-old and just cheering as the hero finally starts to make their comeback, or just watching in horror as the villain pulls out another insurmountable power boost. It's comforting.
As Goku charges up another spirit bomb.
As Goku charges up another Spirit Bomb or charges one last big Kamehameha.
Kaioken times 1,000,000! Explodes.
So yeah, it's still, we're glad. It's still more Bleach. It still feels as though it never left, and it's still having the opportunity to still kind of be fresh in this new landscape of shonen, and at the very least, still have a lot to look forward to.
That post JJK world.
Yeah.
Oh,
So next up in the bin?
What else? What are next?
Let's see. Was it, were you also with me, Panic, for Natsume, or is it just me that's 7 seasons deep and all alone?
I had no idea there was even more than one season, and then I looked up an image and I was like, "Oh, this says 2018. Oh, this says 2014. This says."
It just keeps going.
What do you mean? What the fuck is this?
Franchises like fucking Strike the Blood or Data Live, where you just go like, huh, this looks like some early aughts shit that never made it out of like 1 or 2 seasons. And then you check in years later, and somehow, like, against all odds, they're still going. You're like, what the fuck?
Like Classroom of the Elite season 1,000,000. It's like, who's watching this?
That's truly the worst timeline. That's how you know, like, the fucking ghost of like Ayn Rand is powering the show or something like that.
Yeah, it's kind of like there's always a give and take, and there's always a monkey's paw. Because I mean, Telecom and Koji, they're adapting and they're animating, they're producing Blue Box, and they're giving the opportunity for a really good sports drama to unfold. And at the same time, they are also producing the Seven Deadly Sins sequel, and it will continue to run for God knows how long.
Is that what this is? No.
No. This is just an entirely different tangent. But then, like it's like Natsume's Book of Friends is just an incredibly simple, supernatural Iyashikei sort of deal where it's the grandson of a very notable woman, essentially has the opportunity to, or has the power to see ghosts because it's hereditary, but his grandma was a little bit of a free spirit, and somehow she was able to acquire the names of several dozen yokai throughout the land between beating them in games, beating them in contests, and the other manager. They all come to then seek him after he finds the Book of Friends, the Book of Names, and he has to individually, like as they go and try to search for their names, take their name out of the book, give their name back, because technically, if you know and own the name of a spirit, you technically have control over them. Natsume's a decent guy. He just wants to like live his own life and not be consistently aggravated and be like maligned by all of these spirits looking for him. And technically, if any of the wrong hands inside the spirit mediums can get it, it's kind of like that is a big shift of power for any of the spirit medium like societies that still lurk at least around, but not too much. It's mostly just an episodic Iyashikei sort of deal. First season came out in 2008. I think I started watching it back in 2013, and we haven't really had any new content because season 6 came back out in 2017, and yep, it's been 7 years since anything new has gone through. So like you've done previously with Danmachi, I'm 7 seasons in. I'm just going to continue to go through and see where this ends. And yeah, exactly. It's nice every now and again.
So you're keeping the ticket.
Every once in a while, a woman in a shirt shows up, and it's all worth it.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Tonbo? Golf?
Yeah, Tombow and Rising Impact are kind of just, two sides of the same coin. They're both golf anime in between. It's really interesting to see how... It really does depend on my priorities, too, where it was just... Tombow is very much an Iyashikei golf thing, whereas Rising Impact is more of a shonen, considering that Tombow is just heading out into the Japanese seas to one of its many, many islands right off the coast, and there's apparently a random 3-hole course just sitting out of nowhere, and this, I believe she's coming out of middle school, so I think she's like a 13-year-old, and so she doesn't know how to play golf. She's only played golf with one club throughout her entire life, but she's pretty damn good at it. And so it's basically this other golf pro going through, teaching her the ropes, getting her comfortable enough to leave the island to try to pursue that kind of passion, because she's really good at it, but she doesn't necessarily want to leave and she doesn't really know. But most of it's just nice, chill vibes towards the rest of it. Rising Impact, technically, like, I didn't really know if I would include it here because it was put out in 2 12-episode chunks on Netflix, and the second chunk came out at the end of August, so it was very close towards the end of it, but as a weekly one, it would bleed all the way into October. This is a very classic manga, shonen-esque, where 9-year-olds can hit 380-yard drives and can do
Jesus.
gainers off of the backs of sand traps to go through and have the opportunity to hit impossible shots, and other kids where it's like, oh, I can drive really far. Oh, I can hit 200 straight 150-foot putts in a row and never miss, and it's kind of like, all right, so this is anime. All right. Because the only reason why...
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, all I was going to say is that, like, golf is boring, but I know it requires, like, a great deal of skill. It's just not fun to watch. So,
Oh,
yeah,
exactly.
that's nutty.
Like, it's the only... Because that's the thing. Tombow, I really had to rush it in order to continue on, because golf as in an Iyashike show doesn't really line up, because golf is already boring to watch, but it is in no way serene or calming to play. I have been
No.
playing golf for a fair bit of
It's
time,
not.
and I can guarantee you it is not at all calming or soothing or a nice way to just go and get out and have the opportunity to, like, play around with the boys. It is personal hell and aggravation to try to not suck, but then also be better than you were previously, which then takes a lot of time and a lot of practice, and it rarely feels like you're getting anywhere, but it's definitely not one that is quote-unquote relaxing.
For some reason, you saying that she only ever plays with one club made me think of the Adam Sandler. Is it Happy Gilmore?
Yes.
He just plays with a fucking hockey
a hockey stick, yeah.
hockey stick, and he
Just
just
tap it in. Tap it in.
smack.
We're getting a sequel to that. That's crazy. I can't believe it.
What, Happy Gilmore?
Yep.
What are next? Fucking God, why does everything have to get a sequel? Can't you just let it be? No. Nope. Can't just let
Mr. Krabs going up to the grave of another IP. Am I really going to
Desecrate this
this
grave
grave
for
for
money?
money? Of course I am.
Yes! Of course I am.
And then he starts digging.
But yeah, I would say, yes, Rising Impact is the only reason why it's more interesting is that the shonen formula fits. It makes golf watchable by comparison. DJ Black also had a good point where it was the same deal. One of my favorite shows of the previous year was Birdie Wing, because same deal. Watching golf
Birdie
is boring,
Wing, though,
but
got
if
fucking...
you are going to
Oh my God.
ramp up that camp and ramp up that chaos to such a ridiculous degree that it doesn't even resemble the same sport that it's adapting, then that's entertaining. Then that's something that you can guarantee that I'm going to watch.
Dude, Birdie Wing
So
was
I'm
such a
fairly certain
fucking
that-
train wreck at the end. The golf got lost in all the Hanebado-ish, just like family soap bullshit.
I know, instead of going for like a Fast and Furious where they continue to go on the crazy train, like more and more and more, they did the same thing in Hanebado. It's like, but let's focus on the soap opera aspect.
What if her
They
mom was
may
a
be
man?
sisters?
I was about to say, like, from what I recall, Birdie Wing was significantly more deranged than what you described of either Tombow or Rising Impact.
Oh yeah, very much so. It would, but to that degree, it was so entertaining for what it was towards
Oh,
the
you
rest,
mean
and it
because
was
they have
and it- yeah.
underground mechanical arenas that can shift landscape and fucking Jesus Christ, that's
I still remember one of the I still remember one of the screen caps that made me bust a gut the most was like it was this like woman standing in the wind and looking mournfully, going like, "My father, my husband, and now my daughter. Golf is killing them all."
Yep.
I don't know it was that specific combination, but the
Yep, it
sentence
is.
golf is killing them all.
So
It's
true,
just
bestie.
it's perfectly ridiculous. It's great.
That is ridiculous. But yeah, that is what Birdie Wing is.
Yeah, I would say there is, very much Birdie Wing of the three is the most entertaining. I think I'll kind of see where Rising Impact goes at least towards the end of it, because there's still like a handful of episodes that I need to go through for the second season, but at the very least, they're still doing enough of a job to make it kind of interesting, and you have to really crank up the ham to 11 in order to make 10, like all of these, like if you looked at the character designs for any of these people, they're all between the ages of 8 and 11, and they look like they're in their late teens, early 20s. It is just absolutely ridiculous, except for the main boy, like in the screen. He's half Japanese, half Scandinavian, and so he's a tiny boy, but he's got the strength of a lumberjack, so it kind of really does help when he wants to drive the ball real good.
Can confirm, I look just like him.
All right. Wait. Oh, wait, no. Denmark is part of Scandinavia.
Yes,
I had a brain fart and for some reason thought Denmark wasn't part of Scandinavia.
Denmark is a part of Scandinavia.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, you're thinking of Finland.
Yeah.
Which is a part of the Nordics, but not Scandinavia.
Yeah, that's what I was remembering. Like, Finland's a Nordic country, but it's not part of Scandinavia.
Which is weird. Just let them be a part of the club. God damn.
Yeah. There was this weird bit. There was this weird like time where, like, Scotland was considering joining like the Nordics, and people were joking like, "Look, man, us Nordics and you Scottish have a lot of the same interests. We both fucking hate England."
Yeah. It's
That is
true.
enough
Everybody.
that is enough to bind
Well,
any
but that's
country.
the world, though. It's like everybody hates England.
Hatred of the perfidious Albion is a very powerful force.
England and
I want
France.
I want England to make it all the way to the World Cup finals again, only to lose in heartbreaking fashion, as it was
Again.
witten.
As they have to do every single time.
Least
because it's
intense
just-
English football hater.
Right. So to wrap up, what's everybody's like favorite? Let's do a top 3. It's not a lot of shows, but let's try doing a top 3. What do you like?
Say that Don ReZero Season 3 for me, in terms of being my favorite. It's visually more engaging, and I love ReZero. I love it a lot, and I'm looking forward to how it progresses.
Mhm.
I do think at the moment I slightly prefer Dun Dun in terms of just fun enjoyment.
Yeah.
And third, I would say Mecha Uday. Negative Positive Angler can go places, but it's just gotten started, and its start is not as fun as Mecha Uday's.
Right. How about you, Jake? Urs.
Say, including the fact that I'm not watching Danmachi, not watching Shangri-La, not watching ReZero's third season. It's definitely like the major question is what's number 3, because for me it's essentially Don Don at the top, no questions asked, Blue Box on number 2, and then it's very much everything else is interchangeable for like almost a different reason. But yeah, it is incredibly like difficult towards the rest, where it's kind of like if I want from the first episode alone, I think Mecha Uday would probably be the closest to the podium, at least in that case. The thing I was looking back on my like schedule, and something that is not anime related, but essentially it's The Penguin on HBO would probably take the 3rd spot if I had the opportunity to like settle that in there.
Shout out to the Penguin.
Oh, The Penguin, I thought I was going to hate it. It was being shoved down my throat, every single ad on almost every single, whether it was through watching sports on cable, whether it was watching streaming pieces. It was like, oh, you're going to have to watch this, watch this, watch this. It's the sequel to Rob Pattinson's Batman. It's like, I am going to despise this with every fiber of my being. And then I watched the first 2 episodes, and then it's just, oh, It is probably one of the best one of the best mafia crime thrillers that I've seen in ages.
Nice.
And it has been doing a phenomenal job. And it's also technically coming out weekly, so it does have that a little bit of that to share for on the weekly binge. It's a weekly episode piece.
Right. Right. Well, for me, it would probably be Dan Da Dan, Dragon Ball, and then just to go for the triple D, probably Danmachi. I don't know. I'm also stuck for third. Like, I would say Uzumaki if episode 2 and 3 had been better. And also if it was longer, because, like, there's one more episode left. That'd be...
Yeah, it's
like,
such an interesting piece where
it's
it's like
basically
nice for
done.
October viewing, yeah.
Right. It's just in time for Halloween. It's honestly perfect. I do like ReZero. I'm not that invested in it, though. I'm excited to try out Angler. I'm not watching any of the sports stuff. Shangri-La is fun, but not that invested in it post the big fight. I mean, they'll have to get to a new cliffhanger for it to be truly engaging. So I think my 3 are Dan Da Dan Machi and Dragon Ball. And then a special shout out to Reina Scully and the anime Moss loved, Urahara from 2017. Crunchyroll produced, and she was a voice of a radio DJ in it. Uncredited on any list, but credited on...
Yeah, because
shit.
she was mostly for content on YouTube, helping with content in one of the pieces when Crunchyroll was getting bigger and a little more mainstream, and then she did show up a lot of times back when Rooster Teeth had a anime podcast called Fanservice. She was a guest on that for a couple of episodes.
Because I remember this back from when I watched her and Steven Suptic had a YouTube channel. And I think she mentioned it on that. And that's what got me to check out Urahara, which was a terrible show. But I remember Moss loving it for some reason. I don't know why. But anyway, shout out to Reina Scully. I hope you're doing well. Call me.
Yeah.
Want to be a guest on the next season impressions? Give us a ring.
Bring me back.
I would be all for it. I am glad that she's still doing well. I'm glad that something she had a bit of a hand in has gotten to the length of a full TV show.
Yeah. She has a great voice.
Yeah. She also had a kid recently, or relatively recently.
Well.
Yeah.
Before.
Hope motherhood's treating her well.
Congratulations, Reina.
Yeah, congratulations, Reina.
So with that, I want to thank you two for joining me. And I want to thank everybody for watching and sticking with us through this whole thing that ended up being just a little over 3 hours.
A little under 3 hours, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the recording is over 3 hours. The actual impressions are under. So we kind of succeeded.
Hey, I say that as a job well done.
Yeah. It's only
we were just under the line.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I think we did great.
Well.
We could be proud of what we did here today. So with that,
perfect. Really do appreciate it. I will try to get it though under the gun. I really do appreciate you having me on the episode here. I also run my own podcast as well for my weekly stuff. Anime on the Sea to Sky. Don't really have any not really too much of like social media towards like Twitter or in this case Blue Sky, which is going to be really interesting, like how that turns out. And
oh yeah,
the EU.
Is this the time? Yeah. Is this when it sticks? Who knows?
Yep. My favorite Blue Sky post so far is just Casey Mongillo, who's the voice actor for Chilchuck, and they were the Netflix voice of Shinji Ikari, and they're great. Just posting, Elon Musk has been a great marketing strategy for Blue Sky.
Yeah, I'm wondering if this is going to be the time where everybody stays on there, because there's been like 3 exoduses at this point, and people just keep coming back to Twitter. But I think what will make the difference if all the artists move over there, which is
huge.
That's huge. That's like the main reason to use Twitter is for all the drawings. So if they go elsewhere, then people will follow, I think.
There needs to be, because the independent scene is definitely like they have to use Twitter X as a crutch in order to at least have some kind of notoriety towards the rest. But it would be great to see more platforms, like more opportunities to transition into that and give them just more opportunities to be known and thrive.
Correct. So, with that, thank you all for watching. Like and subscribe. Tell us what you like this season, and we'll catch you in winter. See you then.